Maybe that green light, and we are on. Hey guys, how you going? So down BK Sport, we are live as the final game of round 23 gets underway between the Parramatta Eels and the North Queensland Cowboys. This is going to be an interesting game, where both teams are down the bottom area of the table. Both teams have been really poor this season, but either of these teams can win. It'll be a really difficult matchup to actually predict. Obviously, we just come off the back of watching the other Spoon Bowl, where the Titans found a way to lose an unlosable game, which is very typical Gold Coast, which I just roasted on my Instagram stories. If you're not following me on Instagram, go check out the Instagram story. But I'll talk more about that later on Instagram. But let's run through these two-team lineups, guys. We'll get into the ladder, and then we'll get into what you guys are saying. So obviously, hit that like button, subscribe if you're new around here. And let's get into it for the final game of the round. Now, the Eels on Indigenous round, they are the Darug and Parramatta Eels people, and they are in 15th position, whilst the Cowboys from the Walgurukaba and Bindal people are in 13th position. And this is at Combank Stadium in Sydney, the home of the Parramatta Eels people. Now, the ins here for the Eels, Dylan Brown and Kelma Tuolangi, with the outs being Sam Tuivaiti and Sean Russell. The fullback is George Papali'i, with the wingers being Zach Lomax and Josh Adokar, centres of Will Penasini, and he's back. Dylan Brown is into the centres. You go to the 5'8", Dean Hawkins, with the halfback being Mitchell Moses, who is the captain. You go to the front row forwards of Jermaine Hopgood and Junior Bolo, and the number 9 is Riley Smith. Back row, Charlie Geimer and Jack Williams, with the 13 being Luca Moretti, who comes in off the bench into the starting 13. Dylan Walker dropped to the bench, alongside Talon Silva, Matt Dury, and Kelma Tuolangi, with the 18th man replacement being Jordan Samrani, and the coach is Jason Riles. Now, because the game's about to start, let's run through this Cowboys team. You've got the ins of Jake Clifford, Jason Taumalolo is back, Nicholas Lanaz, and Semi Valame, with the outs being Griffin Neem, Harrison Edwards, Jamal Shibasaki, and Robert Derby. The fullback is Scotty Drinkwater, with the wingers being Braden Burns, and Semi Valame comes in from the number 19 into the starting wing, with the centres of Zach Labour shifting from the wing to the centre, and Jackson Purdue. The 5'8" is Jake Clifford, with the halfback being Tom Dearden, the captain. The props are Jason Talmalolo and Cohen Hess coming in from the 17 into the starting prop department, and then Reece Robson is the hooker. Back row of John Bateman and Jeremiah Nene, with the 13 being Ruben Cotter. Interchange, Marley Bitungane, Kai O'Donnell, Nicholas Lanaz, and Caden Lars, with the 18th man replacement being Jackson Bolo, and the coach is Todd Payton. Very difficult game to predict here. I do think the Eels have overall been a little bit better of late. Yeah, sure, the Cowboys beat the Dragons a couple of weeks ago, about 3 weeks ago, 38-32. But outside of that, the Cowboys have been really poor, and they are the worst defensive team of the competition, giving up 595 points throughout the season so far. That is the worst defensive record across the entire competition. So yeah, look, it's a bit of a rough one there for the Cows, considering there are some pretty poor defensive teams, and the Titans and the Rabbitohs and even so much to say the Tigers and whatnot. But overall, the Cowboys defensively have been the worst defensive team this year. So if there's plenty of points in this one, because the Cowboys maybe sometimes can score, not all the time. Recently, they've been doing all right in that department, except for the Sharks game last week. I do have to take the Eels here, but I do think this is a 60-40 game. I think the Eels should be favourites. I think they should win, but I do give the Cowboys a bit of a chance here. So I'll take the Eels. I think that this game could be 13 plus either way, to be fair. Whoever just turns up the most wins the game 13 plus is what I could see. So I will take the Eels 13 plus, but I could look 1 to 12 Eels, whatever, Sorry, I'm just still disappointed at the last game. Now the Eels, they're in 15th position on 18 points, equal with the Newcastle Knights. They're on minus 153 points differential. And the Knights are on minus 152 points differential. So the Eels are very grateful the Rabbitohs won their last game. So are the Knights and the Cowboys and whatnot, because the Titans will stay down there in last. They would have gone above the Eels and the Knights into 4th last, but obviously they now drop, and the Rabbitohs, their points differential isn't good enough. So they're actually equal with the Rabbitohs on 18, and the Rabbits are on minus 195. So if the Eels win this game, they would go above the Knights, who have already played this week, and also above the Cowboys, who are on 19 points. And then they would go on their own into 13th position on 20 points. Now, if the Eels lose this game, nothing will happen. They would have to lose this game by about 50-odd to go below the Rabbitohs, which I doubt is going to be happening here. So, look, if the Eels lose by 50-odd, they go below the Rabbitohs into 16th position, but they're more than likely just going to stay straight where they are in 15th position. Cowboys, on the other hand, they're in 13th position with 19 points. If they win, they will stay in 13th. They're 3 points away from the Tigers and the Dragons, so they can't go above anybody. They'll go in and stay in 13th position on 21 points. Whilst if they lose this game, they will drop into the bottom 4. The Eels will go above them, and they will go into 4th last. But this game has started, guys. The Cowboys will start for the ball at the 15. First tackle. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. And let's see what you guys are saying about this game. Oh, geez. Let me move that chat across. Third tackle here for the Cowboys at the 20. Up the Eels says, what's up? Get around you, mate. Olivia Reed's coming to Cowboys. Old Melon Sauce getting around Para. Largan says, deal bags in the centres, get ready for a long 80 minutes. Yeah, true. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of messages from Titans fans saying we deserve the spoon. That is all. That is correct, dude. I really do hope that we don't see people coming out and defending that from Titans fans. Like, they really shouldn't be. So Tom Dearden, he will whack this ball down to about the 20, where it's going to be Joash Papali. I always get confused which one to go with. He'll be at the 25 on first tackle. Of other sorts, I think Dylan will be decent at centre. He's usually pretty good defensively. Well, he's played centre before, and he hasn't been that great in the centres when he has played for the Eels in the centres. So maybe, but the only reason he's playing centres is because obviously Jason Riles and the Eels want to go with their future halves pairing of Dean Hawkins and Mitchell Moses into the back end of the year to get them clicking before next year. Because obviously Dylan Brown is off to the Newcastle Knights. If he wasn't off to the Newcastle Knights, it would still be Dylan Brown and Mitchell Moses, which would work better. But that's just not going to be the case next year. Good offload there from the Eels, and now they'll get this ball here to the 48 on the 50. Yeah, right on the 50 there, fourth tackle. And Riley Smith up to Jermaine Hopgood, and he'll be at the 40, fifth tackle. Dion says Cows by a couple points. Jared Troy says the Eels are due for a win. Well, they had a win 2-3 weeks ago. What do you mean? The Eels, they won about like 2 weeks ago against the Broncos. What was it, round 22, round 21? Yeah, they won 2 weeks ago. What are you talking about? So that's going to be a penalty here for the Cowboys at their own 10. That'd be huge. Penalty for the Cowboys. So, yeah, no, they're not due a win because they won 2 weeks ago. That's not what due win. But if you think they win, then sure, but it's not due a win. They only won 2 weeks ago. They've only had one loss in between. What are you talking about? So, Cowboys penalty at their own 10. They're going to kick this ball out to, probably about the 20. Yikes, only a 10-metre kick there. Again, you're saying the Eels are due for a win. Again, bro, it's not due for a win is not the right terminology. They won 2 weeks ago. Due for a win means they've gone a long time without getting a win. Hold on. Wrong. Not good enough. Simple as that. Sorry, I had someone saying it was Todd Smith, blind twice in 2 weeks, now another robbery. Nope, we just simply weren't good enough. All right, so third tackle now for the Cowboys, and they're going to get this ball here to the 35. And they'll get off to John Bateman, and John Bateman is going to be at the 48 and 4 tackle. Up the Eel says they have been given Brown back from injury, so we could possibly win. It's got nothing to do with Dylan Brown, and Dylan Brown wasn't even injured. They were just choosing not to play him as well. But if it was because of injury, then he would have come straight back into the 5'8", but he hasn't gone to the 5'8", he's gone into the centre. He's been on the team list, and he's been on the 18th man for many weeks now, for like a month. It's just that they've been choosing not to play him. He's been on the extended bench for about a month now. Cows by a couple points. Nick Hill says, evening all. Well, Eels now get this ball here to the 20. Get around you, Nick Hill. Second tail. I wish I was in a bit of a better mood, man. I'm sorry, guys. Like, at the end of the day, like, I am passionate for my team. So when you see something like that, you feel like your fan base and your community gets disrespected by an awful performance like that. It does impact you, eh? So it's going to be a penalty here to the Eels at the 35, which is huge. It's very difficult to kind of move on from it to get on straight on to the next game. And then your phone gets blown up too. Do you get your Insta post out, mate? Yeah, I already posted on the Instagram story. Obviously, I'll go more deeper into it later on tonight, but because I only had like a 5 minutes switch between this game and the last game. But yeah, I'll put out the story. So first tackle now for the Eels. They're 20 metres out from the line. Jermaine Hopgood gets it out to Mitchell Moses and then off to Jack Williams. Sharks fans' favourite player of all time, apparently, yesterday. Apparently, a Sharks player's favourite player of all time. And now the Eels' third tackle will be 5 metres out. He'll roll this ball back to Riley. Sees lost the ball. That's penalty. They might take the 2 here. They may consider the 2. I don't know. Not too sure. So it is going to be a knock-on. A penalty to the Eels. I think they probably will take the 2 here. I think the Parra will get this one at home. Yeah, probably. I think they probably do. Yep, Zach Lomax is going to get the kick and tee. He will get the kick and tee. No, it's definitely a penalty. He will get the kick and tee, and it's basically right in front. Is there? Williams is an underrated forward this year. Sometimes they can be decent. Most of the time, though, you can see him having a lot of errors and mistakes, but sometimes Jack Williams can be decent. Oh, now got to hear Mick Ennis talking about what a great win for South Sydney. It was. They were awful, but it was, and they've got excuses to be awful. Titans don't have excuses to be awful. All right, so Eels from right in front, they will make it 2-0. So 2-0 to the Eels 6 minutes in. Sean says, which the season was only 24 rounds, 27 is too much. It is only 24 rounds. The season is only 24 rounds. You only play 24 games. That's 3 buys. So based off what you're saying saying that there's too much footy being played. Well, if you're saying that there should only be 24 rounds, well, that's how many rounds there are of actual footy being played by a team. 24 games is what you play. There's 3 buys. All right, so Jackson Purdue to kick this ball off after the early 2-pointer by the Eels. Yeah, so 5 metres out from the right, Dean Hawkins gets it up to a rampaging Eels player to the 25. Geez, who is that number 15? I can't recognise him right now. That is Luca Moretti. Geez, what a run. That was a huge run from Luca Moretti. He got all the way out to the 25. So go out to the right side, that'll be the 45. Old Melon Sauce says, I'm curious what's happened to Hopgood this year. He's been very average to how he usually is. Well, he had a red rocket hot start to his career. I think that social media really helped out the focusing on that. But I do think that he did become a lot more complacent towards the middle to back end of last year. That's a penalty again to the Eels at the 30. Cowboys, they're all disciplined ways are back. But last year, to the middle to the back end, he wasn't too crush on. And then this year, yeah, he's been a bit underwhelming. You know, he's not as evident as he has been. But I think that a lot of people were focusing on a guy like Jermaine Hopgood. Was he there 2013? 2023, sorry, when they made the... Oh, no, they weren't that great in 2013. 2013, 2023, sorry. 2023 was the year he debuted, isn't it? I think that was the year he debuted. Where did they come that year? They were really close to make the finals, but they didn't make the finals? Yeah, 9th, that's right. I think when they were a little bit better, people took a lot more notice, and he was playing really well under the hype then, but it just hasn't been the same since. Dylan says, Titans absolutely robbed, and you know it. Listen, if I thought they were robbed, I'd say they're robbed. I'm a Titans fan, bro. I want them to be. I would rather be able to say that they were robbed. I would rather it, but we weren't good enough. We weren't good enough. I'm a Titans fan, man. Do you realise that? Do you realise I'm a Titans fan? So it's like, if I thought we were robbed, I'd be the first person to say that we were robbed. But at the end of the day, we weren't good enough. I barely even believe that. Like, look, if you want to be very technical about it, Eels at the 5. If you want to be very technical about it, sure, there's high contact, but it really shouldn't be a penalty, and they didn't give a penalty. But if you want to really be pedantic and claim it, you probably would have seen the whole NRL community get up in arms. Oh, Eels might score here. No, good defense there from Reece Robson to hold him back. It'll be 5 metres out, 4 tackle there with the Eels. You want to be pedantic. You can go and complain about it, but I guarantee you that if they call that, the whole NRL world goes and says the Rabbitohs are robbed. You know, so like it's catch-22 there, but overall, I just don't think the Titans were good enough. All right, so Josh Papali, he'll kick this ball through, and Cowboys will get the ball to the 10 on first tackle. Get Hess off the field because he's already a liability. Up the Eels says every time Eels are at the 10, someone most of the time drops it. See what happens with the lower end of the table. There we go. Forward tackle. I should really put my phone on mute, otherwise I'll keep getting distracted by all the messages. 6 from 6 completions so far for the Eels, 3 from 3 for the Cowboys. And if the Dogs are playing on Friday, I am one. Dogs playing Friday, don't they? Who are they playing again next week? I think it's a Roosters, isn't it? Yeah, it will probably be that a Friday game. And that's going to be rushed there from the Cowboys, but a good kick into a good area. But the Eels, Josh Papali, he'll get this ball at the 20. What is the result? The games next week? Because I know Storm play Panthers on Thursday. Yeah, Warriors, Dragons, and Roosters, Bulldogs. A couple of big games. A couple of big games there on Friday night. The start of the next round is huge. So third tackle now for the Eels, and they'll beat the 38. 10 minutes gone to the first half. 30 minutes to go of the first half. Hit that thumbs up button, subscribe. But Dylan, I don't know if you got timed out or not, to be fair. I know the comment got removed, but it's fine, mods. But I don't know if you got timed or not. But otherwise, can you comment? I want you to tell me if you genuinely believed the Titans deserved that win. And I want you to tell me why. So the Cowboys will get the ball at the 5. It's a great chase from Josh Adokar. Only removed. Okay, fair enough, Joe. So I can't see when it gets removed or timed out. I just know that the comment isn't there. And I have to assume. So yeah, Dylan, I'd like you to explain to me why you believe the Titans deserve to win that game. Is there something Moses doesn't complain about? Penalty to the Cowboys. We're seeing a lot of penalties in this game, which is reminding me a lot of that Storm Eels game about 2-3 weeks ago when it was just penalties galore. Penalties absolutely galore in that game. I do need to get my sniffy jar. I do need to get it. Especially after the last game. I do need to get it. Give me 1 second here, guys. There's a penalty, so just give me 1 second here. All right, we're back. We are back. All right, beautiful. All right, so it is Cowboys ball at the third tackle for the Cowboys at the 45 on the Eels side of the field. Guys are relying on Hopgood to continue making errors. Jay says, I also want to see him explain his comment. Well, it's like I can see Titans fans talking about the high tackle. I just don't necessarily agree with it. Oh my gosh, Titans fans. Okay. They're not giving their own team accountability, man. Fit tackle here at the 20. Fit tackle at the 20. Is there something Moses doesn't complain about? The answer is no there, though, Mitchell. Your answer is no. All right, Cowboy. Eels knock on at the 13th. The Cowboys going to get an opportunity here. Eels will knock it on. The Cowboys will get an opportunity. Brendan says, high tackle was a 50-50 call of mine. Yeah, like I think that there is high contact slightly, maybe. But I didn't think there was enough in it to call it a penalty. But it's like they probably do call that a penalty more often than not in a less critical area. Like if it's at the 50, at like the 60th minute or the 20th minute or the 30th minute, it probably gets called. In moments like that, they're very hesitant to call it. But it's like you probably should call it there. And then if the Rabbitohs want to use a bunker call to check it, then they could have. Because then that takes the responsibility away from the on-field referee in a lot of ways. But at the end of the day, it happened, and like I don't think the Titans were good enough. 15 metres out from the line, his arm did slide up into JC's head. That's what I'm saying. Like at a different area of the field, at a different time, maybe they do call that, which isn't acceptable. But 6 again. Here for the Cowboys. They're 4 metres out from the line. They're going to roll it back here to Reece Robson. Robson off to Tom Dearden at the 10. He'll flick it out the back here to Scott Drinkwater. Drinkwater fakes it, and he'll get taken down by Dylan Brown at the 10. Semi Valamate. He'll get it across to Tom Dearden. Dearden then to Ruben Cotter. And Ruben Cotter is going to be 8 metres out from the line. Third tackle. And then Robson off to Tom Dearden. He gets a Drinkwater over the top of Semi Valamate. And he might go over the sideline. Oh, he pushes off Josh Adokar. Gets away from one. Gets away from Dylan Brown as well. And he'll just run it straight into the line now. 15 metres out, 4th tackle. Let's see some defense here, Eels. If the Eels lose this game, they are still well and truly entrenched in the wooden spoon battle with the Titans and the Knights. Cowboys kick it through. Try time for Jackson Purdue. And the Eels will score. Cowboys will score, sorry. Cowboys will score. And it's 4-0 with 4-2 with a kick to come to the Cows. If the Cowboys lose this, I still don't think they get the spoon because the Titans will have to win 2 games and the Cowboys will have to lose all games. And the Cowboys do get to play the Broncos with no Ezra Mam, Adam Reynolds, Selwyn Cobbo, Xavier Willison, and Brendan Piacura at some point, which could give them a good chance to win. So I really don't think anybody above 18 points will get it. Like if the Titans had won today, the Rabbitohs would have had a bye as well. So both teams would have got to 18 points, which meant that the team on 19 points probably was still a pretty likely chance because it's only 1 point. But I think now, because the Rabbitohs have a bye, so they're on 20, Titans don't have a bye, they're on 16, I think that pretty much just leaves the Knights, Titans, and Eels, dependent on how this game goes today. Master says, hello, Blaze, game of the round so far? Fuck no. Dion says, it's hard, because Titans were starting to look good there the last couple of games. That's the Gold Coast for you, butter. Brother, Paolo, buddy. That's the Gold Coast. Olivia says, why have they gone back to the names again? I know the ats are really annoying. So, Cowboys up 4-2, 15 minutes into the game. Jackson Purdy with a try. He's only one try below Murray Talangi, which is quite funny because Murray Talangi has been injured for large portions of this year. So, to be still the leader in round 23 is pretty impressive there from Murray Talangi. Pretty impressive. Tasmate says sport, man. Yeah. Dylan says, I'm joking about the Rob comment. Realistically, on paper, Titans should have won by 20. Agree. You know, I feel like a lot of people, and maybe because of the recent ways that I've been over the years in the past here on the channel, where I've just been so focused on being Cowboys get the kicks with 6-2. I've been so focused on promoting positivity and just really kind of trying to force a good positive view from and you know, trying to kind of manifest in a way and will the Titans into success. I think a lot of people misunderstand how I think about the game and how I look at the team and how I'm very realistic where I look at this club. And yeah, you can still be wrong whilst being realistic, and you can still be wrong whilst being optimistic. You know, a lot of the time you are wrong whilst being optimistic, but you can still be wrong whilst being realistic. But at the end of the day, I know my club shootouts right now, and that's why I come out against it. You know, because I've been held back for a long time as well in regards to what I can and can't say, and now I don't care. But the point of the matter is that I'm very well aware the Titans should have won that game, and that's why I'm so adamant that I don't care about people calling it a robbery, because it wasn't. You know, I know that we weren't good enough, and we should have won that game by 20 to 30 points. Should have, 100%, especially being up 12-4 at one stage too. Oh, Cowboys get the offload away. That's going to be a penalty to the Cowboys for a strip. Penalty to the Cowboys for a strip at the 30. But yeah, people have a really significant misunderstanding about kind of who I am. They don't understand kind of my intentions and the way that I do things. So they think, like, for example, a comment like that, a lot of people think, well, they'll get a big crazy reaction out of me. It's like, no, because I agree. Even though it's probably taking the piss for the most part. All right, so the Eels are going to challenge this call. Riley Smith hasn't cleared the ruck yet. You're going to lose this challenge here, Eels. Yep. That's going to be ruck interference there against Riley Smith, and you've lost your challenge 16 minutes in. It's the correct call. Eels will lose the challenge. Cowboys will get the penalty, and you're only 16 minutes in. Sean James says, mate, if a high shot is because the arm has bounced off the ball or the arms of the runner, is that really a deliberate high shot? The game is stopping the game. It is a contact sport. Deliberate high shot, accidental high shot, doesn't matter. If it's a high shot, it's a high shot. But I understand what you're trying to say. When it's a high tackle, it's meant to be a black and white. It doesn't mean that it is black and white because the NRL is all over the shop, but like it's meant to be black and white. Regardless of deliberate or not. The penalty isn't because it was a deliberate action. A deliberate high shot is probably going to get you binned. An accidental high shot is probably just going to get you a penalty against you. So now it's going to be third tackle here for Jackson Purdy when he's going to be 24 metres out of the line. And they'll go out to Tom Dearden. Dearden now to Taumalolo. When was the last time Taumalolo played? It's been a long time. How long since Jason Taumalolo? For anyone who's relatively new to the NRL, this man used to be like the greatest player in the game at one point. Drop out here from the Eels. Coming up with a good kick from the Cowboys. Josh Papali will take it out. Jake Clifford with a decent kick. But how long since Jason Taumalolo's been out? Because in the late 2010s, this guy was the guy in the NRL. Like, he was the guy. He was the man. And unfortunately, he kind of just got himself run into the ground and was having a bit too many injuries and has really slowed down. And, you know, I feel like a lot of people, you know, have forgotten about Jason Taumalolo quite a significant amount. And seeing him on the thumbnail probably would have really re-jogged a lot of people's memories about him because he's really taken a fall off in his career. But the thing is, the worst contract in the history of the game nearly was that Jason Taumalolo 10-year contract. We'll see how the Tino one goes for the Titans, but 10-year contracts don't tend to work out. That's a knock-on from the Cowboys at the 20. No, it's a penalty to the Cowboys, and they'll probably take the 2 here, I reckon. They'll probably take the 2. Why do you think the Titans are the way they are? Because Gold Coast has had probably the best talent come from GC. Look at Keeper Park. It's in the top 3 schools in Australia. Keeper Park used to be the best. Palm Beach Currumbin's actually better than them. And that's for the... Oh, geez, I've got to put this back on charge. Palm Beach Currumbin is consistently better than PBC, actually. Than Keeper, actually. And that's why we didn't allow Keeper to bully us into keeping them and only them individually. And Rabbitohs have done nothing for Keeper at all. So we kept PBC and Marsden instead. But I don't know, it's just... They have people who know how to run a business. They don't know footy. They don't have people who have footy minds, in my opinion. And the Titans never hold themselves accountable, ever. And that's the problem. They like to point the fingers everywhere else. They never look internally. The whole organization's fucked, bro. So the Cowboys are going to go for a penalty from in front, but instead of actually looking at themselves and internally rectifying and recognizing that they're making mistakes and they've consistently made mistakes and they're going in a negative trajectory, they made promises and they're going to be actually completing the opposite of that promise. To the fans, and they say they're going to have a Titans fan on every seat by 2030. Well, good luck with that. And then they say they're going to have 2 men's premierships by 2030 and 2 women's premierships by 2030. Well, good luck with that. So they're doing the opposite of their promises. They've regressed as well. So it's like there's no accountability because they would rather blame me individually. Like Cowboys will get the kick. They'd rather blame me, or they'd rather blame the fans for not turning up. They won't say that it's their reason that the fans aren't turning up. They'll say that it's our reason that we're not turning up. They will blame this team or injuries, or they'll blame referee calls. And it's like the fans can do that. As a fan, fans should be so adamant and excited and passionate about their team that they're going to look for, if this should have been a high tackle or it shouldn't be a high tackle. You're entitled to your opinion. Doesn't mean that it's right, your opinion, but you're entitled to feel that way because it means you care. If you're saying something, so 20 minutes gone here, guys, hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. 20 minutes to go the first half. The Cowboys get the 2. It's 8-2. If you are passionately saying something against your team, that shows you care. It doesn't mean you're a hater, and it doesn't mean that you're a bad person. It doesn't mean that you don't have the right intentions. What it does mean, however, is that you care enough to talk about it and want change. You care enough. You're passionate enough to actually want a different success rate or atmosphere or organization or players or whatever. It doesn't matter. If someone is negatively criticizing a team, that does not mean that they are a hater. It actually arguably means they're extremely passionate and they just want to change. But yet they will look to that person and they'll say, you are part of the problem. And it's like, you can shut your mouth because you're actually the problem. And I would never would have said this in the past, but I say this now because I just don't care. First tackle now for the Eels at 25. Casey says the Titans are a silly club. We almost beat the Panthers and lose the Rabbits. We make no sense at all. Sure. Ben says, Gus is already annoying me. Old Melon Sauce says, Para, how many penalties are you going to give? Well, look at that game against the Storm a couple of weeks ago. They gave away about 12 penalties. That's a ridiculous amount. Penalties over 10 is just ludicrous in a game. I think they gave away like 7 penalties in the first half. It was crazy. 4th tackle here at the halfway point. Jumpy says, what's happening in the game? And Desmond says, pay for KO and you'll find out. Yeah, these streams aren't just about commentary. Eh? Cowboys will get the ball here at the 20. Scotty Drinkwater, and he'll be taken down to the 20. You got to remember with these streams, man, like at the end of the day, there is commentary. When things are happening, I will definitely tell you when something big and something is actually happening. But there's no point just saying every single tackle, right? At the end of the day, we talk in the chat. I talk, I give my opinion, you guys give your opinion, and then I will commentate when necessary as well. And then when it's in the crazy crutch of the moment, the last like 20 minutes, usually I'll move away from the chat for a bit and I'll focus on the game. But there's nothing happening right now. It's 3rd tackle for the Cowboys at the 35. Like, there's nothing happening. But pay for K when you find out. Jeez, Daz, you're a funny bloke. Dylan says, personally, I think it's what you said, plus the destination is too laid back and the lack of media pressure and expectations. I think media's tried their best over the years on the Gold Coast, and that's why I feel like, there's a lot of corporate nut-sucking from fans on the Titans, that's for sure. I used to be like it, where I felt like I needed to be validated by the club. There's a lot of corporate nut-suckers out there, and it really goes... It really works out against the fans and against this club that nobody really harshly criticises them online. The opposition fans are always going to do it for every club. 4 tackle for the Eels at the 42. But they've never really had harsh criticism on a permanent level from the media, as you've said. But Travis Mayne and Badell have done their job over the years, but it's not large enough. The thing is you're right, on the Gold Coast, there's so much to do that realistically no one cares unless you're successful. And it's going to be the case. Eels are going to chase this ball down here. Cowboys will get the ball at the 10. And it's going to be Scott Drinkwater who brings it out to the 15. Why go to a Titans versus Rabbitohs game on a Sunday afternoon on the Gold Coast when you can go to the beach? Why go there when you can go to one of the theme parks? Why go there when you can go to all the restaurants? You can go down to Tweed, you can down to the south in the Quiet, or you can go have a bit of a party in Broadbeach and above, or you can go, out into the hinterland and go for a hike in the beautiful mountains at behind Mudgeerbar and I can't think of the mountains, not Tallabudra, the big mountains anyway. Marine, I can't think of it. There's just so many things to do in the Gold Coast. And 1 second, here Cowboys at the 50, and it'll be fit tackle. So it's like, why are the fans going to do that? And then when the players go, they're not hounded like they are at Belmore. Bulldogs players, it's a religion in Belmore being a Bulldogs fan. That should be a penalty for a tackle in there. That should be a penalty for a tackle in there against the Cowboys, but it's not. It's not. Eels get the ball here on second tackle at 30. When you go into Belmore, if you see Jacob Kiraz, or you see Stephen Crichton, or you see one of these guys at the Bulldogs go out for a coffee, they would be hounded, they would be admired, everyone would be surrounding them trying to get a moment with them. On the Gold Coast, no one could give a shit. They may get a couple people here and there, but at the end of the day, no one on the Gold Coast gives a shit because they haven't even earned the respect of the Gold Coast realistically at any point, except for the real true passionate fans. So fit tackle for the Eels. Now the Cowboys will bring this ball out to the 5. Mount Tambourine. Thank you, Dove. Thank you, Mount Tambourine. That was what I was thinking. Spartan Jones says, nice, brother. Evolution of self. Yeah, it always is the way. Cowboys will get this ball out to the 8 on second tackle. You've always got to be living and learning, mate. That's why travelling overseas has been brilliant. I've been able to see the perspectives of people in completely different lifestyles to me. I've been in America many times. I've been in India for 2.5 months. I've been in Thailand for 2.5 months. I'm now in Vietnam. I've been through Hong Kong and lived in Fiji. You get a good perspective and understanding of kind of how life operates a lot better. So you realise that how insignificant some things are and how significant some things are and how different people think. So fit tackle here, Tom Dearden at the 40, and he's going to kick this ball into the corner where it will be Josh Adokar who picks it up, brings it to the 25, to the 30, to the 35. Nearly gets away, but he'll be taking out the 35 first tackle. Casey says, no, we want you to commentate when someone's having a drink of water from the trainer even. Don't you start me on trainers, Casey. Casey, don't you start me on trainers here, buddy. What do you think this is? What do you think this is, champion? I don't want to be talking about no trainers. Champion? Bucko? Pal? Buddy? Grommet? Oh, Moses here nearly gets through at the 30. Don't you talk to me about trainers. Forward tackle now for the Eels, and it's going to be Riley Smith who gets the ball to the 20 on fit tackle. Here's a chance for Parramatta. Parramatta Gal. Jermaine Hopgood to Mitchell Moses. And Moses into the corner. Lomax goes up, catches it over the sideline. See you later. That wasn't a good look there from Zach. But that's going to be Cowboys ball here at the 10. Lloyd says, Chur, watching from Auckland because I don't have Sky and up the Eels. Well, we're here for every single game. You're probably glad you weren't here for the Warriors-Bulldogs game yesterday. But, at least you guys are up there in 5th position. Well, it's a bit tentative. You need to beat those Dragons next week. The Warriors do need to beat the Dragons next week for sure. Lagan says the amount of Bulldogs, murals, flags, etc. in Belmore is crazy. That's the point. Go to the Gold Coast. You'll barely see a Titans jersey. You'll see a couple of Titans hats around. There's no way you see a mural. No one gives anywhere near enough of a shit to put a mural around. But you got to also consider that the Belmore is a suburb, whilst the Gold Coast is a city, and a long city at that too. And lost ball there from the Cowboys, and it'll be the Eels 0 tackle at the 40 on the Cowboys side of the field. So there's a very big difference as well. Even in Brisbane, you don't see murals. But that's a whole city. The Gold Coast, you won't see murals. That's a long city, all the way from the Tweed straight to like Coomera, right? Whilst in Sydney, Cronulla is a suburb. St. George is 2 suburbs of Wollongong and Cogra. Manly is a suburb. The only one probably different would be Newcastle. Left-hand side here, Josh Adokar at the 10. And he will be taken down 8 metres out from the line, 3rd tackle. Okay, see? Now there's something interesting happening in the game. Now we go back to commentating the game. 3rd tackle. Dean Hawkins gets it off here to Papali, and then he'll get off to Jermaine Hopgood, and Hopgood's going to be 13 metres out here from the line. 13 metres out from the line. They go left-hand side off to Dean Hawkins. Short ball. Jack Williams offloads it. Josh Adokar! Try time for the Eels. There's a try time for Parramatta, and it will be 8-6 with a kick to come. And Josh Adokar is complaining about a high tackle. So if he gets a high tackle, could be an 8-point try potentially. Mitchell says, forget the trainers. We want to know every time someone breathes. Well, Adokar is struggling right now because he's claiming the high tackle. Really great offload there from Dylan Brown in the end. I don't know. I think this will just be a normal try, to be fair. Dylan says Belmore is not a city. Yep, that's kind of... Oh, no, Dad's taking the piss, bro. I thought you were replying to me. Oh, he does slap him across the chin, but there's not too much in it. Dad's taking the piss. He's taking the piss, Dylan. Don't worry about him. I thought you were talking about me. I was like, I know. Belmore's not a city. I think it says Wollongong is a city. Oh, yeah, sure. Sure, that's right. That is correct. Yeah, you're right. Do they have murals and stuff in Wollongong? I don't think so. Sean James says that is why you stream should be platinum, mate. Get around you, Sean. Prem's always gains supporters, Casey. Oh, Casey said, wonder if we won a premiership or two, would the Titans fan base grow massively or would no one care? I'll take you back to a time. So it's 8-6 here to the Cowboys. I'll take you back to a time in 2010. 2007 to 2010, the Titans were selling out Skill Park at the time. And the atmosphere was unbelievable, and that was a fortress. The Titans wouldn't lose games at Skill Park. They obviously made the preliminary final against the Roosters in 2010, but unfortunately, because Seabus isn't big enough, they had to move the home final from Skill, to Suncorp Stadium, and we lost that game to the Roosters. Our one and only finals win was against the Warriors at Skill Park at the time in 2010. But back until maybe about 2012, which should tell you a story, Eels will miss the kicks. We'll stay 8-6 to the Cowboys, 11 minutes to go the first half. Up until about 2012, we were selling out games. We would be, hitting regular 25k crowds at a 26,500 capacity stadium. 27.5, 26.5, whatever. So we'll get massive crowds. Massive. And they were mainly Titans fans. And then 2011 came and we hit the spoon. We made the preliminary final in 2010 and then dropped to last place in 2011. And then ever since, we've just never been able to get any consistency where we've been good enough. 2016, we made the finals off a losing season. 2021, we made the finals off a losing season. And then we got knocked out both first rounds. So it's like the Titans have never earned the Gold Coast respect. Never. Rabbitohs might suck, but guess what? They've won premierships and they've earned the respect over the years. And this is why I say with Dolphins, be careful thinking they've got a massive fan base that are always going to turn up. Because one, they didn't have a great deal of people turn up yesterday. But also, secondly, there's a period of when you become a fad as a club. A fad. 10 minutes to go the first half here, guys. Hit that thumbs up button, subscribe. Cowboys up 8-6. There's a period of like 3, 4, 5 years where a club is the new, fresh things on the block. They are a fad. Everyone gets around them. Everyone wants to see them doing well, and everyone will back them in. You've already seen this year that a lot of neutral fans don't give a shit about going for the Dolphins anymore. Like in the first couple of years, everyone was like, oh yeah, I like the Dolphins, back them in as a soft spot team. And now you're finding that people are just like, whatever, I don't care anymore. And that's what happens. So you got to wait at least like 5 years to really see who your true fan base is. I know who our true fan base is with the Titans. I've seen it. Like I can picture the faces right now. I know who the kinds of people are that have been to all the games and have been there. But you need to wait 5 years. You can't just go off the back of off the first 3 years here. And it's still not even exactly insanely impressive. Meta says Moses Mbai deserves a mural in Wollongong. You need help. Cowboys here to the 45 on 4 tackle. Desmond says, wait, who are you talking to? Me or Dylan? Shut up, Daz. Nah, he's taking the piss now. He's definitely taking the piss now. Dylan says, I live in the GC. I know what you mean. I definitely wouldn't be hard as a player with no height, but that comes with underachieving. Absolutely. This is what I'm saying. They haven't earned the respect. And yet, like, they will look at my Instagram story and I'm not going to say names, but, like, there are ones who agree. If you don't agree with what we're saying, then you're part of the problem. So second tackle now for the Eels at the 30. And penalty to the Eels at the 30. Huge. Huge there for Parramatta. Case says, I believe next year we'll make the 8 comfortably. Why? Based off of what? What are you basing that on? What are you basing on? Who drops out for the Titans to make the 8, and what is it that makes the Titans go from last place right now in round 23 to a top 8 team in 2026? Still, the GC is a different situation to the rest. Agree. So Mitchell Moses gives it off here to Jack Williams, and second tackle here for the Eels at the 28 penalty-a-thon. Always is with Parramatta games, bro. Always is. Left-hand side, Dylan Walker. And Dylan Walker is going to be 20 metres out in third tackle. Casey says, based off my delusional fandom and beliefs. No, that's a fair enough answer because it is delusional. right this very second. 4th tackle here at the 13. And they'll go right-hand side to Dean Hawkins, and Dean Hawkins will be 4 metres out and 5th tackle. 8 minutes to go here in the first half. Riley Smith, can the Eels take back the lead here? Mitchell Moses, he'll kick that ball through. Addo-Carr chasing it through. Try time for Josh Addo-Carr. He put the afterburners on, and Addo-Carr will put it down, and the Eels will take the lead here at 10-8 with the kick to come. Good kick there from Mitchell Moses. Good chase through there from Josh Addo-Carr, and a bing, bang, boom in your face. Eels go slap, ding, dong, bing, bong, 10-8 with the kick to come. Olivia says the Bears will be taking the spot at the bottom next year. That will be 2027 they come in. They're not in until 2027. The Papua New Guinea are apparently 2028, which I feel like will get pushed back. I would not be surprised if Papua New Guinea get pushed back to 2029 or even 2030. And then we see in 2031 or 2032 the second New Zealand team probably comes in. But no, next year there's no new teams coming in. Brett Nessie says, Addo-Carr, try time, bing, bong, boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom. I went to say try time, bing, bong, mada bish, but you got it wrong. You got it wrong, champion. Not surprising from the Novocastrians, though. Not surprising at all. Definitely not surprised. Ben says, I freaking hate our defence. Yeah, Cowboys' defence not too great, mate. Not too great. They have now, with the 10 points they've conceded in today's game, they have now dropped below. I'm in 2023 right now. 2025, round 23. The Cowboys have now dropped below 600 points given up. The second worst team defensively is the Titans just. Rabbitohs aren't too far away, but the Titans just. But that's off by about 50-odd points. 50-odd points to the Cowboys. So whilst the Knights are the worst attacking team by a country mile, the Cowboys are the worst defensive team by a country mile. Car goes broom. Car go broom broom. Addo-Carr broom broom. Oh frick, I thought they were next year. No, 2027. 2027. You'd hear way more hype if they were coming in next year. Like if the next year you'll hear a ridiculous amount of hype for it. There's no point getting excited for it while it's still a little while away. The Bears and Papua New Guinea have a lot better of an opportunity to go well when they come in because they've been given more time. They've been given about 2.5 years to prepare for a team, and the Papua New Guinea team will be about 3.5 to 4.5 years before they get their team, based off of last year, compared to the Dolphins, who got about a year and a half. They had about a year and a half to put themselves into the game. So they were a very short, quick inclusion, whilst the Perth Bears and Papua New Guinean teams will be a long-term inclusion, which is why if you want to get off the bottom of the table, you better damn well start doing it now with player signings, because they're going to have completely fresh salary caps. Papua New Guinea have a tax exemption on their contracts, which means you don't have to pay tax if you play for Papua New Guinea, is what I think Albanese was saying. He's a wanker, but like the point of the matter is that you don't have to pay tax in your contract. So it's like, although you don't want to go to Papua New Guinea, you'll only be playing 4 games up there because most of your games will be based in Cairns. Eels now get this ball to the 30 on 5th tackle. 5.5 minutes to go here the first half. And now Mitchell Moses will kick this ball into the corner and knock, drop, and roll. Eels will get the ball at the 1, but it's going to be a knock on Cowboys. And they're going to check the bunker here, but it's definitely just a knock on Cowboys. Next year will be full of Tino and Munster enjoying the Bears. Yes, that is true. That is what will happen. Tino won't go to the Bears. I can tell you, if he went anywhere, he wouldn't be going to the Bears. This will just be straight up knock on here from Braden Burns, no? No, it's an Eels knock on first, so this will be Cowboys ball to 10. This will be Cowboys ball to 10. Nintendo says, I think Perth should get a higher salary cap. No. I think Perth should get a higher salary cap than the rest of the Aussie teams. Absolutely not. At least the first couple of years, absolutely not. So they have a better shot at having a competitive team. No, that's not how life works. Why? What? Why? That makes absolutely no sense. Also, how do you think that they're going to go after this couple of year exemption is when they try to bring their contracts back down under the salary cap? That's awful. What? Why are we giving an unfair advantage to a team so that they can be competitive? The Titans didn't get it when they came in. The Dolphins didn't get it when they came in. Why is it now that we have to give the Bears? And also, why have you said the Bears and not Papua New Guinea? Why is it the Perth Bears get a higher salary cap just so that they can be competitive? It's not anyone's responsibility besides themselves to be competitive. What? Why would we be why are we giving and trying to provide an advantage to him? Someone says, and then what Nintendo after 2 years have to shed a heaps of players? That's what I'm saying. Like, it makes no sense. At the end of the day, when you take away that exemption, they're going to have to come back underneath the salary cap. So it's like, yeah. And then Jared Tricks, what happens if they win the premiership with the high salary cap? There's absolutely no world. This is the thought process. There is so many bad things about it. There is so many. Sorry, Nintendo, but it just doesn't. No. Well, in a nice way, respectfully, no. Casey says, if that's the case, I think they should double the Titans salary cap so we can have a more competitive team. Hey, I agree with it. Can you imagine the criticism if that happened? NRL will make their draw with 10 straight home games because of the travel. Yeah, I don't necessarily disagree with that. I don't necessarily disagree with that option. So Scott Drinkwater the 20. I think they need to be benefited in a way like that, and then make sure they can play like a 10-game slate on the East Coast and then go back for a few games or whatever. Maybe they start off the season away and then the middle part of the year is at home and then the late part of the... No, because of Origin, you probably start off the season, half of them at home, and then you play the middle part of the season away so that a lot of your players are also around the Origin period in New South Wales or Queensland and whatnot. And then the back half of the stretch, you probably play at home or something like that. So I can see a benefit like that happening, but nothing in regards to a salary cap. Fit tackle now with the Cowboys. Like, again, Papua New Guinea, they're getting a tax exemption, but there's no salary cap exemption. So Papali gets his ball to the 23 minutes to go here in the first half. Taylor says the uproar from the other 17 teams if they win the comp with the highest salary cap. Exactly. Third tackle now at the 35. 16 from 17 completions for the Eels, 18 from 19 completions for the Cowboys. So both teams completing quite well, but it's just that both teams are giving away a lot of penalties. Seb Watson says, just give them triple the cap. It may as well. Let's do it. Let's just do it. We'll do it for the Titans instead. Trial it out next year. I'm spending the entire double, the other 2/3 of the salary cap on Nathan Cleary. Yeah, good luck rejecting the other 2/3. All right, so the Cowboys now will get the ball at the 15 through a knock-on from the Eels, and it's going to be 0 tackle at the 15. Tells me says just get rid of the whole salary cap. Oh, yes, that's the idea. Oh, yes, Jellybean. Oh, okay. You won't get rid of the salary cap. Do you know what that means? Before I give you my answer, before I give you my answer, why do you think it is a positive to get rid of the salary cap? Because I can promise you that you'll be regretting that when I tell you about another couple of comparisons. Tom Dearden gives it up into Drinkwater. Drinkwater then across the right side. Fourth tackle for the Cowboys, the 42. Dylan says, salary cap opinion only comes from AFL. That'll never happen in the NRL. They just give draft picks and cap space. I'd love to see a draft, dude. I really would. Fifth tackle now at 30. That says, well, goodbye to small teams. The salary cap goes. Yeah, look, I'm just going to quickly reply here. You take away the salary cap and go and have a look at the Premier League is. Left-hand side, Jackson Purgey kicks his ball into the corner, and it will... That's going to be a dropout. He touches that, so it should be a dropout here from the Eels to the Cows. Go and have a look at the teams. Like, if you were to remove the salary cap, you would have to go via the baseball model where it's like you can spend whatever money you want, but there's a cap of like where you don't have to, like you're in a higher tax bracket, so you have to pay more if you go past a certain amount. So say, for example, and the Dodgers have worked a way around this, to be fair, but you have to pay a higher tax bracket if you go above into the luxury tax. So that's the only way to get around like a salary cap removal, because it means that you're forced to pay more if you're going to pay more. You can pay more, you can spend as much money as you want, but if you do that and you go past the brink, then sure, you can do that and try and win the comp right now, but you're going to be paying a ludicrous amount of tax to make you suffer for being one of the teams that have the higher salary usage. Third tackle at the 20. Do you understand what I'm saying? So third tackle, Sammy Valame gets it off to Tom Dearden. Tom Dearden at the back here to Drinkwater. 6 seconds left here. They give it off across to Robson. Left hand side, Jackson Purgey. They're still going here. He steps, and that should be the first half. So half time is 12-8. Halftime, it is 12-8 to the Eels. And close game here. Not been the most exciting and thrilling of games, but at the end of the day, this is what's happening down this area of the table. Close game, still plenty of time for both these teams to find a way to win. Just currently, the Eels are the ones in the lead. But let's get into the stats here at halftime, and then we'll get into the chat. So obviously, hit that thumbs up button, guys. Subscribe if you're new around here, and do not forget, we will... Actually, no, there's not games tomorrow. But I probably will put out a video tomorrow, maybe even a stream, actually, where we're going to go talk about the run home to the finals, the top 8 and whatnot. And then we might even do a second one on Tuesday for a wooden spoon and all that time of jazz. So just watch out for your notifications on Monday and Tuesday. But the try scorers so far, Josh had a card twice for the Eels, once for the Cowboys, is Jax Purdu. Possession is 52% for the Cows and 48% for the Eels, with 14 minutes and 46 seconds for the Cowboys and 12 minutes and 57 seconds there for the Eels. Now, completion rate, if you're hitting 80%, you're at a great level. They're both at 95%. 95% for the Cowboys at 20 from 21, 94% for the Eels at 18 from 19. That is a ridiculously unbelievable stat there for both those teams. They're not making errors, and you've got to really appreciate the quality there of holding onto the ball. Now, runs-wise, 84 runs for the Eels at 731 run meters. Cowboys at 79 runs, now 80 runs for 690 meters. So, look, they're both well underneath the average run meters of 10 per run, but if you wanted to be pedantic and give them 3 more runs, now it's 81 for 697, they're pretty much at the exact same amount that the... They are pretty much at the exact same amount that the Eels are, the Cowboys. So Cowboys 81 for 697, Eels 84 for 731. They're both doing it at an extremely similar rate here. Now, post-contact meters, even though there's 3 less runs for the Cowboys, they're actually up 246 to 243. It's not a dramatic switch because it's only 3 runs, but the Cowboys are in the advantage there quite considerably. And then the line breaks is 2-0 Eels. Tackle breaks is 15-13 for the Cowboys. The Eels have missed 15 tackles. The Cowboys have missed 13 tackles. Average set distance, 25 and under tend to stream off. It's pathetic. 25 to 30 is disgusting. 30 to 35 is underwhelming. 35 to 40 is average, hitting the marker. 40 to 45 is great. 45 to 50 is fantastic. And 50 plus is perfect. It's an incredible first half. 38.52 for the Eels. So they are doing mid to upper range of the average area. They're hitting the marker. They're doing enough. They're not doing anything spectacular, but they're doing fine right now at 38.52. They're not hitting the 40 for great, but they're close enough. And then the Cowboys, they're not even hitting the marker of 35. They're at 34.12. They are on the upper end of an underwhelming category where they're not doing what they need to do. They're about 4.5 meters behind the Eels on each average set, so you would want to be seeing a bit more out of the Cowboys in this department. Now, average play the ball speed. Wow! An average play the ball speed of 3.59 is average to slow for the Cowboys. That's very, very on the brink. The Eels are at exact 3 seconds. They are exactly 3 seconds. That is extremely fast. You know, you're comparing that to, say, like the Titans with a 3.8, 3.9 from the last game. The Eels are at 3 seconds on the dot. That is incredibly fast. Wowee, Parramatta. Now, passing-wise, 3 offloads for the Eels, 0 for the Cowboys. Forced dropouts is 2 there for the Cowboys, 0 for the Eels. And then you got kick defusal of 57% for the Cowboys, 29% for the Eels. You go down to the defensive effective tackle percentage. Both teams are at least hitting the marker. 88% to 98%. Sorry, 88% to 90% is hitting the marker, what you expect, and then 90% and above is amazing. The Cowboys are at 89.74% with 175 tackles made, 13 missed tackles, and 7 ineffective. So that's really, really solid there. 13 is still under the average. 15 to 17 is probably where the average missed tackle sits. They're at 13, so they're not actually missing a great deal of tackles, and their ineffective is quite average to limited. It's underneath 8, so you're not complaining about 20 bad tackles. They're just underneath the really great category of 90% and above. They're at the high end of the hitting the marker, 89.74%. And the Eels, even better, they're on 92.08%. That is phenomenal. 186 tackles made. 16 missed tackles is average area, 15 to 17. They're right dead smack in the middle of the average, but 0 ineffective tackles. So whilst the Cowboys have missed 3 less tackles, they've still got 4 more bad tackles because the ineffectives is 7-0 Cowboys. So that's really good there for the Eels to not have a single ineffective tackle in the first half, and that's why they've got a pretty positive defensive effective tackle percentage. Now we go down to the negative play. 4 errors for the Eels, 1 error there for the Cowboys, 4 penalties conceded for both these teams, so that's pretty rough. Inside 10 metres is 1-0 against the Eels, and on reports is 1-0 against the Cowboys. So overall, in this game, both teams defending at a really solid rate. The offloads is well in advantage of the Eels. They're very fast play, the ball speed for the Eels at 3 seconds. The average set distance is in advantage of the Eels, but at least the Cowboys have jumped up into the average category now of 36.92. Before they were in the underwhelming. And then they've got more tackle breaks the Cowboys, line breaks and more Eels, and the run meters is pretty much the same. It's pretty much the same. It's an advantage of the Cowboys now because they've updated it to 89, 85 in favour of the Cowboys. Another 8 runs added on. But the point of the matter is it's basically the same. So this game is well and truly up in the air for anybody to win. Whoever's the better team in the second half wins the game. Simple as that. Because they're both performing at a pretty decent rate. It's not a bad statistic line here for both these teams, especially considering the Eels are in 3rd last and the Cowboys are in 5th last. And one of those teams will be in the bottom 4 by the end of this game. It's actually not bad statistics. It's actually quite quality. Someone with 38 months says tough result for the Titans at Try Blunder. Thanks for reminding me. Nintendo says, or at least let them negotiate with any player not signed in 2027 right now instead of waiting until November 1st. You got to give important expansion teams a little leg up to get started. Why? They've got an entire salary cap available. They can spend whatever money they want on anyone they want. They can spend whatever money they want on anyone they want. I'm going to ask you this, Nintendo. Are you a Bears fan by any chance? Are you a Bears fan? Because I disagree with you. I completely disagree with you. Like I can understand that you're trying to give a team a competitive edge, but why? Why? It's not anyone's responsibility besides themselves to do it the fair way. I don't understand why you want to provide an unfair advantage. I get the intention, but the intention is a little bit blurry because it doesn't make sense why you'd want to give them extra salary cap, which also would be a negative impact long term on them. But also, secondly, to say that they can talk to anyone they want now. So it's like that just screws over any team that they're currently playing for to have these conversations with him. And I'm sorry, there's so many things that are wrong with this. There's so many things. Why are you trying so desperately to make... And why is it only the Bears, mind you? Why are you only... This is why I feel like you're a Bears fan. Why are you only focusing on the Bears? Because we've got Papua New Guinea coming in, and we're going to give them the same thing? Are we going to give the New Zealand team the same thing? So fuck the rest of the competition. It's only about these 3 teams? Is it only about these 3 teams? And why was it the Dolphins that didn't receive this kind of benefit? And why didn't the Titans receive this kind of benefit? Why is it now that we have to, cater hand, and feet and provide a winning chance to these teams when ultimately in 2 years' time the Bears are going to be rivals to these teams? Why did the Dolphins not receive it a couple of years ago, but yet you're really desperate for the North Sydney Bears / Perth Bears to be given these leg ups? I don't understand it. And especially with these suggestions of providing a significant unfair advantage against the rest of the comp just because you want them to be competitive. But it's like it's not everybody else's responsibility for them to be competitive. They've got to hire the right CEO. They've got to hire the right talent, scout. They've got to hire the right marketing, but they've got to hire the right players. That's on them. That's on them to spend their salary cap and talk to the players that they want. If they don't get the players that they want because the players don't want to do it, that's not anybody else's responsibility except for them. The responsibility is not on us. But if you want to give them the advantage of the first 6 games or 10 games being at home, the next 10 games, if you want to do like a half and half season where they play at home, then they play away, so to take away the travel, then sure, that's something that I can get behind because it's not really an unfair advantage. It's just location, it's difficult. Otherwise, it'd be way too unfair on the Bears. So, no, it makes no sense. PNG can have it too, the Bears are just next one up. Well, that's just going to screw the rest of the comp, dude. You're intentionally screwing the rest of the comp for the sole purpose. You have to be a Bears fan here at this point. Nintendo says if they come in and are terrible, they may never get enough momentum from fans to become good eventually and just die out. That's not anyone's problem. So why is it that you're going to tell a Rabbitohs fan or a Titans fan or a Knights fan or an Eels fan or a Cowboys fan, all teams down the bottom of the table, hey, listen, we know you're struggling. We know we didn't give you any benefit. We know that you guys are in a really, really bad position, but we don't care. We're going to try and make sure that the Perth Bears are good. We're going to try and make sure that Papua New Guinea are good. And we're going to try and make sure the second New Zealand team is good. But everybody else can go screw themselves. Everybody else, you can shut your mouth and just sit in your corner, because we're going to focus on making these teams competitive. And if you complain about it, you keep sitting in that corner and face the corner. All right, because that's kind of what we're saying here right now. You're trying to give an unfair advantage, which will mean that teams that are already struggling, who don't have any form of advantage, are effectively screwed long term, because we would like to circle jerk these new teams coming in. Whilst I understand trying to create a location viability, no, you should not be given a extended salary cap, and no, you should not be given the ability to steal players from teams. Any player you want. You've really just opened the floor for them to steal quite literally any player they want that is contracted open by the end of this year. So it completely removes any possibility of teams being able to talk to their own player, or it completely screws any team in the bottom six who are trying to get themselves out of the bottom. So you're only caring about the competitiveness of this team, but you don't care about the competitiveness of the Titans. You don't care about the competitiveness of the Eels. You do not care about the competitiveness of the Rabbitohs. You don't care about these teams because you're only caring about the new fad that's coming in. You are entitled to your opinion, but do you see how this is incorrect? Do you see how this would go down a very dark path against the competition that it already currently is? And everyone would complain about it. Everyone would complain about it. You know, look at GWS, for example. GWS are a prime example. Dylan says the draft and combine would be so sick. I would love it, man. Would give fans something to look forward to in the off-season. Sean James says, why would the NRL would not want to grow our game in countries that love the sport? Don't be like rugby union. NRL, pull your head out of your ass. Wait, what? Why the NRL would not want to grow our game in countries that love the sport? What? Yeah, sure, but they are. They have grown in Tonga, they have grown in Samoa, they have grown in Fiji, they are growing in Papua New Guinea. They're giving Papua New Guinea a team, which is politically spoken, but still, you know, they are probably going to bring in a second New Zealand team. I'm not too sure what you mean. I'm not too sure. Lagan says, Blaze loves to have a good dig at the Bears. How am I wrong here? How am I wrong here? This isn't about the Bears at all. Nah, you just had to get timed out for that. You're just trying to get a reaction. I'm not going to give you the one that you want. I'm not going to give you the one that you want. Tell me how it's wrong. When you get back from your time out, you can tell me how it's wrong. Because that's just you trying to get a reaction, man. Because what I'm saying is fair and valid, and if you can disagree with it, is someone please let me know how it's fair for everybody else. What did bro say, Olivia? What did Olivia say? Brenton says the fan base will diminish in the lower end teams as it is now if they enforce that salary advantage. Absolutely. Absolutely. And people like yourself, Brenton, the Knights would never be able to recover. They'd never be able to recover because not only do you screw over the teams over the next couple of years because the the Perth Bears are given the advantage, but then once that advantage is taken away, well, guess what? Papua New Guinea are going to come in. So as soon as that advantage for Perth gets taken away, there's another team that comes into Papua New Guinea that can do the same thing as them. So that's a good 5 years. That's a good 5 years right this very second where it's just like teams are going to get poached for talent before they can even talk to a player. And then hold on, I'm not done yet. The 20th team in the competition, whether it be the second New Zealand team or a Western Brisbane team or an Adelaide team or whatever, then guess what? They're going to come in 2031, 2032 area. So then we are now effectively locking up this year until probably 2032, 2033. That's an 8-year span where nobody is going to be able to sign players before on November 1st because the players are already taken for the teams over there. That's 8 straight years at a minimum. 8 straight years at a minimum. The current teams that are struggling for players will absolutely get pillaged. Those teams will get pillaged. And it will just effectively screw over all the teams at the bottom. And that's why we remove Lagging, because he's not here to have a conversation. He's just here to be a piece of shit. Jared Troy says, players that went to the English Super League can come back and play for these new teams. I don't even know what that means. I don't know what you're referring to. Brenton says, yeah, 100%. Even as rugby league town we are, it would be detrimental. Absolutely. Absolutely. So the second half's about to start here, guys. The Eels up 12-8. Eels up 12-8 right now. I do have to run and quickly put my phone on charge, guys. Give me 2 seconds here. The game is about to start for the second half. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. I'll be back in just one moment. I've got to put my phone on charge. Second half is started, guys. Just give me 1 second. Give me 1 second here, son. And then we've got the final half of the round. Alright, and we're back underway. That's me. Hello. I am back. Alright, let's get this game back on. Alright, guys, the Eels ball here. 4 tackle at the 40. Lagan, I'm going to give you a suggestion, bro. You are getting very trolly over these last couple of weeks. I'm going to give you a suggestion. Please involve yourself in the conversation at a normal level when you know it's serious, comparatively. Trolling's fine and whatnot, man, but we do see that you try to get a reaction out of it, and we all see through that, but it does get annoying at times. That's why we remove you like that. So we'll see you back. We haven't hit you or anything like that, but it is just becoming a bit too much of a common thing. Second tackle now with the Cowboys, and they're going to get this ball here to the 25, and I know you're still watching. That's why I'm saying that. Olivia says, well, jump scare. Really? You're going to do me like that? You're going to do me like that, Olivia? Oh, my gosh. I've been so supportive of you in your fitness journey, and you're going to do me like that? Oh, my gosh. How will I ever survive? How will I survive? So, fifth tackle now for the Cowboys, and they're going to get this ball here to the 48. Dylan says, once that extra salary cap dries up, then what? Never happening, destroys the integrity of the game. That's what I'm saying. Once the extra salary cap finishes, because they'll get like a 3-year, 4-year, 5-year span, well, guess what? At the end of that 5 years, or end of that 3 years, what do? Because now they've spent all this money on this extra salary cap to benefit themselves, but guess what? 3 to 5 years away, they're going to have to remove it. So say you get an extra $1 million. Okay, well, say you get an extra $2 million. How are you going to reduce the $2 million to keep a competitive team after that 3 to 5 years? And then they're just going to fall down to being a spoon team. You know? And like, at the end of the day, it still screws regardless because you're going to have to bring them back in. You're going to have to bring them back into the rest of the competition. I will really re-emphasize here, though, for Nintendo, like, at the end of the day, this is a good conversation to have. It's not having to go at you. It is having to go a bit of the thought process, but it's not having to go at you. It's a good conversation to have so that we can kind of discuss why this is wrong, why this is incorrect. Again, I understand your intention. Your intention is correct. Your intention is right. So, second tackle over the Eels at 30. You have a good intention to make the game more competitive for teams that are going to struggle coming in. But it doesn't work because you're going to have teams that are already struggling being like, well, what do we do? They're never going to be able to succeed. They'll never be able to get off the bottom. And we will go down a path of what we already see it. We already see the Panthers win 4 in a row, potentially 5. We already seen them in 5 grand finals in a row. We already see the Storm already there. We already see the Roosters. The last time a team outside of the Storm, Roosters, and Panthers won a competition was 2016 for the Sharks. That was the last team outside of those 3 teams in the Storm, Panthers, and Roosters that have won a competition outside of those 3 teams, the Sharks. And that was their first comp ever. Eels here, short chance, try time, Parramatta. Will Penasini will score, and it's 16-8 with a kick to come. Parramatta Gal. Olivia says, I'd like to apologise. No, I was joking, Olivia. I was joking. It's sweet. Trust me, I've heard way worse than that over the years. That's why we reply to negative comments a lot of the time now, because like, we don't care. I used to care. I don't care anymore. But it's alright, Olivia. I get it. You hate us here in the channel. You know, you watch the Broncos lose all their players, and you're like, nah, screw it, I'm going to take it out on Blaze. Sana says up the Para. Why, you gone Para? Did you tip him, did you? Because the Cowboys aren't even close to the Roosters. I'm joking too. No, Olivia, see right through it. She's going crazy. She's lost the plot. She's lost the plot on Sunday. Yeah, I tipped him. Yeah, I was going to say, otherwise why? No, you can. No, Highlands, we take the piss out of that. You don't get timed out for asking that. No, Storm vs. Panthers is a legitimate possibility. It's a legitimate possibility. It makes me sick to think about, but it's a legitimate possibility that Storm play the Panthers. No, the reason why people get timed out is, one, sometimes it's a joke, because we're just taking the piss, so you can understand the context if you're kind of reading the room. But otherwise, it's just because someone's been a dick intentionally, or yeah, usually people just get timed out for a bit of a laugh. Usually it's just a bit of a laugh, but sometimes Jay and the mods like Daz and Olivia and all that will time someone out for being intentionally a bit of a dick. It should be a no-go question. It should be, Brenton, but no, it's fine, because at the end of the day, like, people are going to ask it because it's a legitimate possibility that sucks. But 18-8 here to the Eels with 35 minutes to go in the game. And Jimmy James is going to get timed out for saying Storm with an S. Yep. You've done that to yourself, Jimmy, and you knew it was coming. Like, you absolutely knew it was coming. That was a straight up, that was an easy one. That was an easy one for the mods to time out. Dylan says, imagine the compassionate grounds release request with a draft, though. They'd have to set rules with it. Oh, yeah, a draft would be awesome. And like how the NFL have got it set up. It's not that easy, though. It's not easy to set up a draft in the NRL. Especially with, like... Yeah, it's just very different in the NRL. It's not as much money comparatively to the NFL and whatnot. You're still moving completely. But at the end of the day, like, it's... If you want to make the game, then you make it. You play for whoever, but... NRL is very set up differently, where you would have a lot of set rules with it, and you're going to have a lot of players that, yeah, like it'd be great as a team like the Titans down the bottom of the table, or teams like the Eels and Knights and whatnot, who usually regularly down there with us. Like, we would love it because it would give us a really good opportunity to grab a great player. Like, for example, Latrell Mitchell's coming through, and he's the next player to come in, or Nathan Cleary's coming through. He doesn't just go straight to the Panthers. But the issue here, the biggest issue with the draft, is the Eels get the ball to the 45. The biggest issue with the draft is that teams develop players. So, for example, the Panthers developed Nathan Cleary. The Panthers developed Brian To'o. The Panthers developed Stephen Crichton. They developed all these players. So what's the benefit to developing players if they're not coming through to you? So the reason why the NFL draft system works is because they're playing for colleges that aren't aligned with NFL teams. So the colleges are developing them and whatnot and bringing them in because they want the college to succeed. But then the college isn't aligned with an NFL team. So if you get drafted to, say, the Tennessee Titans, or you get drafted to the Jacksonville Jaguars, they're not aligned with Alabama. Or they're not aligned with Ohio State. So there's a very big difference where they develop them for their own intentions, and then they'll go to another team at a bigger level for their own intentions. So there's a big difference. But in the NRL, the system coming through the ranks is that, say, the Panthers will develop a player. Cowboys get this ball to the 40 on the Eel side of the field, fit tackle. So all these teams will develop their players, and then the first round draft pick goes to the Titans, and this player that they spent 10, 15 years developing in the youth grades, St. Mary's or in Penrith, will go straight to the Titans, and it'll be like, well, what was the benefit to Panthers developing him through all the years with no guarantee they're going to get him? Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's very different to, say, the NFL. AFL is a better... Cowboys 1-1 strip here. Jake Clifford will get the ball at the 20. Down by 10. Here's an attacking opportunity. That's a strip. That's a penalty. That's a penalty against Lomax. You could argue professional foul, but they won't do it. Nintendo says, we can't have a draft in NRL, unfortunately, because it got killed... I'll reply to that in a second, Logan. We can't have a draft in the NRL, unfortunately, because it got killed in the 90s because a player didn't want to go to the Roosters. True, but also for what I just said in regards to the development system, what's the point of developing if they're just going to go somewhere else? So first tackle now at the 13. For example, who's a good player in recent years that come through? Well, for example, Keanu Kinney, developed on the Gold Coast. To be fair, the Titans wouldn't have had the first pick when he came through 2 years ago. 3 years. Eels will get the second tackle. The Cowboys decide to kick it. No, Addo-Carr's away. No, taking out the 30. Cowboys decided to kick it on the second tackle, and the Eels pick the ball up and get to the 30 on first. Stupid kick from the Cowboys. Who came last 3 years ago? 3 years ago would have been the Tigers. So Keanu Kinney, for example, a really good fullback who's now played for New Zealand, has been injured this year, but a really good fullback would have gone straight to the Tigers, and it's like, what's the point that the Titans developed him? Like I said, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying that you hate the Bears. Worded wrong, it's my fault. Yes, but you've got to understand the room, and that I'm not here insulting the Bears right now. Like, I'm not here to put a negative on that thought process because of my opinion of how the Bears were in the 2010s with the Titans. It's got nothing to do with that. That's why. And also, you know that you've been trolling a lot lately. But it's okay, bro. You're all good. Just, you understand. So it's going to be Cowboys ball here at 20. Mitchell says, we're clearly tanking for Webby this season. That's also the problem with the draft, is that teams will eventually start to click on that they see a Cameron Smith coming through and they're like, I want him. So we're going to deliberately lose. Players don't do it, but coaches and organisations manipulate their teams to give them a better opportunity of coming down the bottom area of the table. That's what the NBA does. It's a big thing in the NBA. It's a massive thing in the NBA. All right, so it's going to be the Cowboys ball now. Second tackle at the 30. 30 minutes to go of the game, guys. Hit that thumbs up button, subscribe. Last game of the round, but we are in the thick of the season now. We are really in the thick of the season now. Not necessarily with these two teams, but just in general. Next week, we've got some massive games. Storm Panthers on Thursday is insane. Warriors Dragons, a big game for both those teams, actually. Especially the Dragons. In my opinion, Ruben Cotter, great run here to the 30 on fit tackle. And then you've also got that Bulldogs Roosters game. That's a massive one. So they will kick this ball into the corner. And the last Bulldogs Roosters game was a phenomenal game. That's a tackle in there for sure. Well, that's a penalty anyway. So luckily, Braden Burns has been stupid and pushing back into the in-goal on the second effort. But it was definitely a penalty for tackling in there, but they didn't call that. So either way, they get the penalty. Fair enough, Logan. How is that not a penalty for a tackle in the air? Again, it's going to be a second attempt to push him back into the in-goal, so it's going to be a penalty, but not for the reason it should have been. Did you see my comment? Who do you want to be in the grand final? Well, I'd love it to be Bulldogs Warriors, but it's not going to be the case. Bulldogs Warriors would be the best, most hyped grand final with the way the fans will get out in numbers for it. It'd be the best thing for the game, but it's just not going to happen. Warriors aren't going to make the grand final. Bulldogs might. Warriors might. Probably won't. Second tackle here for the Eels at the 38. Highland says, have you watched much of Jet Clear played? No, I haven't been able to watch I don't get much ability to watch the youth grades because I'm watching the NRL here with you guys. The Eels nearly break away here. Jack Williams at the 50, third tackle. Logan Balzac says, been playing a bit too much rugby league 26. I forgot Parrot turned up. We know you don't watch the games. Olivia says, not sure if you saw my comp before, but I'm making roti fish tacos. Well, there you go. Fire it up. You're basically Vietnamese. Cowboys intercept somebody Valame, the 40, the 45, the 50, the 45, the 40, the 35, 30, 25, 20. Adam Carr gets him alongside Riley Smith, and it'll be Cowboys ball at the 13. Good intercept there from Valame, though. So they go left-hand side to Tom Dearden. Dearden gets it across here to Ruben Cotter. Cotter across to Robson. Flicked across. Good tip on Braden Burns. Try time for the Cowboys. Yeah! Try time for the Cowboys. Back in the game, and it's 18-12 with the kick to come to the Cows on the left-hand side. Good flick-on pass there from the Cows. Braden Burns and Zach Lomax. Braden Burns is getting into Zach on that side. Yeah, bad pass there from Papali, who gave it straight to Semi Valame, and then he gets all the way to the 20. Adam Carter's still got a bit of speed. He's not as fast as he once was, but he's still got a bit of speed there and was able to get back. But then as soon as you make a breakaway, you just flick it to the other side of the field and you've got a great opportunity. Cotter back to Robson. Robson, good cut out ball across. Where's the forward pass, Justin? There was no forward pass there. Where was which forward pass? Oh, yeah, I thought Lomax was maybe going to get it, but the reason why it's definitely a backwards pass is because otherwise Lomax would have got it. No, I didn't see that forward pass there. Kept himself in field there, Braden Burns, and brings the Cowboys back into it with 27 minutes to go of the game. Highlander says, how do you see Broncos finishing the season with their injuries? Well, we'll talk more about this probably tomorrow. I'm going to do a stream tomorrow where we talk about this top 8 battle. But it's going to be a struggle for him. Yeah, that's not forward. Ever since that one person said about, I think, Max King going to the church, he used funny story, even though I know Max, but like Max used to go to my church on the Gold Coast. But ever since that one person said about that guy who went, even though they didn't know him, it was a lie because they didn't even know his name. They knew part of his name, but they got it completely wrong. It's funny because there's always been jokes now about like this player and that player went to my church. I love it though, like I'm Christian, so I love that people are going to church, but It's just been a running joke ever since that one person a few months ago. And Cowboys will miss the kick. 18-12 with 27 minutes to go of the game. How's Dillbags been in the centres, or has he been switched around? No, he's in the centres. They're not going to switch him around with Dean Hawkins there. Not that I really rate Dean Hawkins, but they're not going to do it because Dylan Brown's going to the Knights next year. So there's no point putting him into a crucial area. They want to rather develop Hawkins into that halves role. Sean James says, this conversation now about new teams, I've heard of this for 20 years and still only one overseas team. Yeah, but where are you suggesting? Because there is more than likely going to be the second New Zealand team, and there is going to be the Papua New Guinea team is confirmed for 2028, 2020. Like, it's probably going to be maybe pushed back to 2029. But Papua New Guinea is going to be a team. They have been confirmed in the competition. The Australian government is backing it. So Papua New Guinea is the second international team. If you want to be pedantic, we can say Perth is basically an international team with how far they are over there. Jay can agree. And then they are talking about the second New Zealand team in the South Island, which I think will be the one. So I'm not too sure kind of... I get what you're saying, but there is a confirmed international team coming in. And there is probably going to be a second international team coming in for the third team. Where else are you suggesting? Because Nuku'alofa doesn't have a big enough stadium for Tonga. Fiji does have stadiums, but they're focusing on the Super Rugby with the Fiji. And Drew, knock on Eels. Cowboys here, left-hand side. They're going to score, Jackson Purdue. They're going to tie the game up here, the Cows. They are going to tie the game up here, the Cows. Here we go. 18-16 with a kick to come. The Cows have gotten themselves right back into the game with a bang try and then another bang try. And it's about to be 18-18. Out of nowhere. Mitch says and Para are back. Yo, Parramatta Gal. Parramatta, they are back. The Squeals. The Parramatta Squeals. They're both going for the ball, so it's fine. Like I said, I reckon the Bears will do what the Dogs do when they play 1 or 2 games at Belmore, considering it's the Perth Bears. Most of the games will be in Perth and a few games in North Sydney. I do hear that it's like 4 games for North Sydney and 8 games for Perth. I think it's 8-4 split, which is kind of what we've seen before from... Oh, there's another team. I don't think it was this sport. Might have been Rugby Union. Can't remember. But yeah, I think it's like an 8-4 switch. So 25 minutes to go here the game. Brett Neslick says, come on, Cows. Well, yeah, you want that to happen. Yeah, you want the Eels to lose this game. Well, if you're a Titans, Rabbitohs, or Knights fan, you want the Eels to win. You want the Eels to lose. If you are anybody else, you want the Cowboys. Well, no one else cares really. Well, Tigers and Dragons, I guess you'd want the Eels to win because either way they'd be 2 points short. 2 points short for the Eels, 1 point short for the Cowboys. It doesn't really matter, actually, for the Tigers and Dragons. But the Knights, the Titans, and Rabbitohs would prefer the Eels to lose this, especially the Titans. So the Bears will end up in Sydney a bunch for away games too. Yeah, absolutely. So they'll organise that so there's a large stretch of games in Perth, and then they'll have a couple of home games in between a couple of Sydney games. And then they'll probably just send him for a 4-game trip to Queensland at some stage to keep him there. Nice of Moses to complain instead of stopping Laybutt from getting close to the post. There's Moses. That is a Mitchy Moses thing to do. It is a Mitchy Moses thing to do. 25 minutes left here. All right, so the Cowboys at the 8. They will give it off to... Cohen Hess, and Cohen Hess will be at the 20, so it's a tie game here, lads. 18-18. Literally 3 minutes ago, or 4 minutes ago, it was 18-8 to the Eels, and the Cowboys has just gone bang, bang. Everyone will complain about the travel time. Yeah, but Cowboys knock on. Penalty Cowboys. Jeez, this game is switched. Ghost Gecko says, has the Perth home stadium been organised? Yeah, I'm pretty certain they're playing from where the Perth Glory play. NIB Stadium, is it? It won't be Optus. Optus is too big, and there's just no point. Yeah, definitely a strip there against the Eels, so Cowboys penalty. Timothy, go Eels, full support from Papua New Guinea. I want to ask you, Timothy, as a Papua New Guinean fan, get back in this chat. I want to ask you, as a Papua New Guinean fan of the Eels, when Papua New Guinea come in as a team, will you still stay as an Eels fan, or will you become a Papua New Guinean fan? Will you still stay supporting the Eels? And I want to ask you, would that be a common thing too? Penalty again to the Cowboys for a high tackle against the Eels. Will most Papua New Guinean fans stay with their respective teams, whether that's the Broncos, whether that's the Cowboys, or whether that's the Eels and all that type of stuff, which is the three main teams that I see usually from Papua New Guinean fans? Will Papua New Guinean fans stay with their team, or will they become PNG fans when the team comes in 2028? Mitchell says Jay better be Perth's mascot. Jay is going to be Perth's mascot. Sean says, as he said, the three countries that many players in NRL now other than New Zealand. Yeah, but Nuku'alofa and Tonga has only a capacity of 10,000 seated stadium. I guess the Sharks have that. But Nuku'alofa doesn't have the ability. Samoa and Apia has like a 8,000 seated stadium as their biggest. And that's just not a possibility. Fiji is focused on Super Rugby. They're not really interested right now. But they have the Kaiviti Silktails that play in the New South Wales Cup. And they've played there for about 5 years or so. Jeremiah Nath, the third tackle, 8 metres out from the line. Reece Robson, he'll go to Cohen Hess, and Cohen Hess is going to push all the way, but he'll be 1 metre short of the line, 4 tackle. Reece Robson goes himself, and he'll be fit tackle, 0.5 metre short. He'll roll it back here, Jason Tamalolo, Tom Dearden at the 10, kicks it through, not a good kick, and the Eels get this ball to 5. PNG Stadium needs a redo. In what way? It's still got a capacity of like 20k, doesn't it? Well, 18,000 maybe? No, not 20k. Maybe like 15,000. Port Moresby Stadium capacity. It's only 10,000. Yeah, maybe. You might be right. I don't know why I went up to 20. Yeah, 10,000. Yikes. Had to ask because I didn't know that. The Rock is big. Yeah, but it's your question's fine. 4 tackle here, good offload there from the Eels, and they'll get this ball at the 45. Your question's fine. It's just that you've got to look at the capacities. Papua New Guinea is more of it's a knock-on from the Eels at the 48. The Papua New Guinea one is more of a politically minded venture, but also Papua New Guinea are very passionate about the sport, and they need to develop down under. But you've got to remember, like, we're not a national team yet. We're called the National Rugby League. We're not a national league yet. You know, National Rugby League, how are we national if we're only the East Coast and New Zealand? So by bringing Perth in, we do become the National Rugby League. And it's like AFL get all the numbers at the games, but that's because the AFL is developed as a better experience when you're watching the game live, whilst the NRL is actually better to watch it here on TV because you can see the whole field. And they get the much bigger numbers in regards to TV. 20 minutes to go here of the game, guys. Hit that thumbs up button, subscribe. It's currently 18-18. And now Ruben Cotter will bring this ball to the 40 on second tackle. Justin Button's his supporter brother. Zach Lomax he worked the coin. Eels forked out for him. How do you rate his performance this year? I think the Eels were going in a different direction. I think they would try. I think at the time it was the right decision, but it's just that the Eels have gone through a bit of a refurbishment since he signed. Third tackle, kick through here for the Cowboys. It's going to be a dropout. It will be a dropout. So I will say at the time, yes. I would say right now, no. But that's in hindsight. I'd say at the time, yes. Ghost Geggers, imagine playing Perth and Waz at home back to back. They'll never do that. They'll never do that, but that would be quite funny. It's like we've got Perth Glory versus Auckland FC or the Wellington Phoenix in the A-League, but there's never like back-to-back long-term games like that. Like, we already saw the problems with the game. The first problem happened this year in Origin. First tackle of the Cowboys at the 30, where the Panthers were playing in New Zealand 3 days or 4 days after the Origin game 2 in Perth. So those players weren't able to play in that game, not because of the decision, because it wasn't the time frame wasn't good enough in regards to allowing players rest in between. And the Cowboys taken down to the 10 metres, third tackle here. 10 metres, third tackle. Scott Drinkwater, Tom Dearden. Tom Dearden gets off to John Bateman, and Bateman's going to be 5 metres out, fourth tackle. They're going to roll it back into Reece Robson. Robson off to Tom Dearden. Dearden out the back left-hand side. They give it across to Braden Burns. Braden Burns steps. He's 10 metres away, 15 metres away. It'll be fit tackle. Fair tackle. I'll reply in a second, William. So fit tackle at 10. Off to Clifford. Tom Dearden, 15 metres out. Scott Drinkwater. He puts that ball up in the air. Good area. Good chase. Cowboys knock it backwards, but this is going to go over the sideline. Oh, that's going to be a penalty. Well, he went out. Well, that's a penalty. What are the Cowboys doing? That's stupid. So that's going to be Eels penalty at the 10. That's just stupid, especially Drinkwater coming in late there as well. But he actually put his foot over the sideline beforehand, but it was already a second attempt. William Sedeka says, the PNG team is going to be some challenge, especially in its competitiveness. Agree. The incentives are good and it will have good, decent support. However, player quality may be a great factor. As an Eels supporter, I'll support Eels and then PNG. Okay, Eels and Papua New Guinea play each other. Who will you support? Because that's the key one. It's like, yeah, you can have a soft spot for a team and whatnot, but who will you passionately support between the Eels and Papua New Guinea when they play each other? That's my question there. But I agree in regards to the challenge and its competitiveness. It'll take a long time before the Papua New Guinea team would become competitive. It's about the grassroots and it's about what players will go there and whatnot. Forward tackle now at the 50. At least they have direct flights from Perth, New Zealand. Do they really? It doesn't surprise me. It's probably about, 8-hour flight? It's like 4 hours less than Brisbane to Brisbane, LA. Sean James, the Polynesian team from these countries combined. Yeah, but it's just not the right time. Maybe eventually, but it's not the right time. They were considering it. There was a consideration for putting a team like the Papua New Guinea team and having it as a mixed Polynesian team, even though Papua New Guinea is Melanesia. But Papua New Guinea, Fiji, Samoa, and Tonga, and then having like most of the games out of Cairns, and then having some games in Papua New Guinea, one game in like Apia, Tonga, Apia in Samoa, and then Nuku'alofa in Tonga, and then in Suva, Fiji, or Lautoka. But Lautoka is kind of the home of the Fiji and Drua, so they'd probably try and aim for a Suva. Because Nandy's not big enough and Singatoka's not a big enough destination either. Cowboys left-hand side now, and they're at the 35, and they'll give it out to Jackson Perchu at the 40 on 4 tackles. 17 minutes to go here in the game. So, yeah, look, they did consider it. I just don't think it's the right time. Braden Burns, good run inside the attacking half, fit tackle. It's just not the right time. But again, Kaiviti Silktails, who are the Fijian team, they are in the New South Wales Cup and they have been for years. Josh Adokar will be at the 28, first tackle. William Seneca says, anything political has its bad sides and bringing the NRL into this has high potential to be abused by the political agendas and climate forever changing. Agree, 100%. There was a lot of criticism for the Australian government's forceful nature of them being included. I don't think NRL fans, third tackle for the Eels at the 33, I don't think NRL fans are complaining about Papua New Guinea coming in as a team. I think they're complaining about how they're coming in as a team and the sustainability and financial ability long term. But I think that fans are happy to see Papua New Guinea come in because they're a very, very passionate nation for rugby league, arguably more than Australia in a lot of ways. But it's just the internal dealings surrounding it. So that's going to be kicked out of the Cowboys at the 5. It's going to be allowed to bounce here, but Drinkwater gets it. He might be away here at the 10, the 15. Oh, taking out the 20 with a trip up. Olivia says, let's go on a members trip to Perth for the last Oz vs All Blacks game in October. Australia are going to clearly win the Bledisloe Cup, Olivia. We've won too many Bledisloe Cups, but we're just not going to let you get the Bledisloe Cup ever again. You know, it's just as simple as that. Don't know if New Zealand will ever beat Australia ever again. Wallabies are too good, Olivia. They're just too good. Like it's sad to say, but PNG will probably win no more than about 6 games in their first 3 years. I think that's a bit. I think that it's not completely far off, but also a lot of people thought this about the Dolphins originally. I know it's a very different contextual situation, but Cowboys here, left hand side, Jackson Perch at the 45, and it'll be fit tackling out the 50 for the Cowboys. 15 minutes to go here in the game. So 6 games is probably a bit too low, but I can understand the thought process. And that will go out at the... No, that's a great kick. Sits up at the 3 and stays inside the field of play. So Papali gets his ball out to the 20 on first tackle. I think you're reading too heavily into how Papua New Guinea plays against international teams. And Papua New Guinea holds their own against Tonga. They also beat Fiji all the time, even though Fiji have a better team on paper. Haven't really seen them against Samoa. Obviously slap up Cook Islands. But I think that probably people are reading too heavily into how Papua New Guinea as an international team play against Australia and New Zealand and when they get whooped in those games. And Papua New Guinea held their own against New Zealand for the first half in that game last year, but then obviously got blown out in the second half. So, they're going to win more than 6 games across 3 years. But I can understand how that can be viewed considering their performances on an international level against the big teams, because at the end of the day, you know, Papua New Guinea have a Queensland Cup team in, and it's going to be Cowboys ball here at the 10. Don't forget, Papua New Guinea have won a Queensland Cup. They have won it. Oh, that's going to be a trainer. You could make an argument this is going to be Eels ball here at the 10. I think they are going to call this Eels ball at 10. I don't know what this is a call. I don't know if this is a penalty or if it's just Cowboys ball or if it's Eels ball. No, it is just play the ball for the Cowboys at the 5. I don't know how that works. I don't know that ruling. Trainer. You shouldn't be anywhere near where the ball is, dude. You shouldn't be anywhere. I know it's an accident. That is a complete accident there. That's not a deliberate action from like what the Panthers' action was the other week. But that was an accident. That was completely accidental. But it's just like, trainers, get out of the game, dude. Why are trainers even close to the ball? Like, I know it was a complete accident, but why are you even in the area? So, fourth tackle over the Cowboys at the 25. And now, if the Cowboys score here, Eels fans will blow up. At the 40, it'll be fifth tackle. Sean James, I was just remembering shit from years ago. Yeah, valid. William said, I'll support Eels first, as I have since 1981. Papua New Guinea second, to answer your question, when they play each other. Fair enough. It's good loyalty. Especially considering it's the Eels and not like a Panthers. You know, it's good loyalty. Because it's very easy when your team isn't that great like the Eels are. Second tackle at 32 over many years, 39 years now. Penalty to the Eels. That's a huge penalty. Penalty to the Eels at the 30. It's very loyal to stick with the team when you've got the new fad coming in. I remember I'm a Brisbane Roar fan in the A-League. I don't really care for the A-League anymore, but Brisbane Roar fan because they're the only team in Queensland. And I was living in Melbourne at the time, and I'm a Manchester City fan from a very long time due to my history. And Manchester City bought Melbourne City, and I was living in Melbourne at the time. And Brisbane Roar weren't great. I could have easily just jumped on the Melbourne City brigade because they're a part of the City football group. But I didn't. I didn't do it. But I felt like I needed to at the start because of my lacking care factor for the Roar long term. But ultimately, I stayed strong. So first tackle, and Melbourne City would have been the easy option because they have all the money as well. Are the current champions as well right now. Second tackle here at the 35. Scott James, would you consider doing an international comp similar to what the cricket does between, say, Italy, USA, Jamaica, and Ireland to grow the game? Please explain further in regards to what you mean. Dean Hawkins at the 22nd tackle gives off to Jack Williams. Why are you kicking that through on second tackle? I don't think that's played at. It is played at. So it's 6 again here for the Eels at the 10. I don't know why Jack Williams is kicking that ball, though. He's very lucky that they're still going to keep the ball. Old Melon Sauce says, I get it was accident, but could have been something. Yeah, for sure. Second tackle, he shouldn't be in that area. 10 minutes to go here of the game. It is 18-18. Hit that like button and subscribe. The final game of the round. Big game in context of both these teams. To avoid the spoon. And Mitchell Moses will be 13 metres away here from the line. Third tackle, 10 minutes to go of the game. They go left-hand side. And Luca Moretti will be fourth tackle at the 7, settling it down. They'll roll it back to Talon Silva. Forward pass, arguably, but it's fine. Junior Bolo to Mitchell Moses. Short ball, Jack Williams. Not the play. Probably should have tried to get out the back. But then again, the Cowboys probably had the defense sorted. They go short themselves and not the play on fifth tackle. Talon Silva. Wrong play, mate. Wrong play. And the Eels will get the ball. So the Cowboys will get the ball 3 metres out from their own line. Not the play. Brenton says they may as well put a jersey on at this point. TAFE courses are lacking. I just don't understand why he's even remotely in the area of where the ball is as a trainer. Yeah, Mitchell Moses is really ripping into Talon Silva there. Yeah, I like that from Moses. I like that from Moses getting the Talon Silva there. What was that match fixing last tackle play? So Cowboys now will get this ball to the 20. It'll be second tackle. 10 minutes to go to the game. Yeah, the trainer is getting ripped into on the sideline. He's getting ripped into. And it's the NRL. It's not the Eels or the Cowboys. It's the NRL ripping into the trainer. I know he's going to defend himself and say it was completely accidental, but you just shouldn't be in the area whatsoever when that happened. Jake Clifford gets the offload away, and the Cowboys are away. Reece Robson taking out the 35. Fifth tackle. Fifth tackle. They go to Tom Dearden. Dearden into the corner here. Good chase from Jeremiah Nene. The pressure's there. I think that's fine. I don't think there's an escort. It's going to be Eels bought the 5. Cowboys might be annoyed by it, but I don't think that was an escort. Now the Eels on second tackle will be... No, first tackle offload from Lomax. They get to Addo Carr across to Dylan Brown, and Brown will be taken down at the 10. Be third tackle now, I think. They haven't got the tackle count on screen. Says first, but I'm pretty certain this is third. And Addo Carr's away here. Oh, taken down to the 30. So close. Fourth tackle, I'm pretty certain for the Eels, even though the screen says first. And now Jack Williams will get this ball to the 45. That's fit tackle. I was right. It's just the on-screen. Wait, is it not? It's now 4 tackle. And now it's fit tackle. I don't know what just happened there. I swear they just got an extra tackle, the Eels. I'm pretty certain they did, but anyway, I'll pretend it didn't happen. Eels drop the ball. They flick it back again. Here's a chance here for the Eels. They flick out to the right-hand side. Junior Bolo. Bolo, he gets it out the back now. Here's a chance. Mitchell Moses thought he was going to go for a field goal. He kicks the ball over the top here for himself. It's going to be Cowboys ball. Scott Drinkwater gets it at the 20, and it'll be first tackle. What a finish this game we've got coming up now. Like it's Paul Felder trainer. Well, no, he shouldn't be in that area. It's not Paul Felder trainer. He shouldn't be in that area. Yes, it's an accident, but there shouldn't be an accident because you shouldn't be in the area for the ball to hit you. He deserves to get the criticism right now. It's not the same criticism from last week. Last week was way worse with the Panthers-Titans game than this one. But there'll just be a lot of criticism during this week for trainers' impact on the field. 4 tackle, 42 metres out from their own line. Comment in the chat who you think wins from here. It is currently tied up for the last game of round 23. We've only got 4 rounds to go after this of the regular season. Now the Cowboys will go to Tom Dearden, and Dearden will kick this ball into the corner. Is Geimer on for the Eels? I don't know, mate. I'll have to have a scan across the field. Lomax will bring this ball here to the 25. And then Mitchell Moses, he'll give it to Will Penasini, and Penasini is going to get this ball to the 30. I don't think he is, but I'm not too sure. Somebody else in the chat who's watching the game can probably help you out. So second tackle now for the Eels at the 30. Now at the 35 on third tackle. Breton getting around the Cows. Brian getting around the Cowboys. Darren Wollongong getting around Para. Jim and Mars' Cowboys will win. Well, it's 50-50 right now. Adokar at the 40 on 4 tackles. 7 minutes to go. We could be looking at an extra time game, but Moses knows how to kick a field goal. And Scott Drinkwater, I think, can kick a field goal. Is it Scott Drinkwater who's their field goal taker at the Cows? It's not Dearden. It might be Jake Clifford. Maybe Tom Dearden does it, but I'm pretty certain Scott Drinkwater's got a boot on him, doesn't he? So Drinkwater brings out to the 30. Like, Eels have a clear defined Mitchell Moses to take their field goal. Cowboys, I think, is a bit up in the air, but I think Drinkwater is it, but it could be Dearden or Jake Clifford. 35 metres out. Yeah, it is Drinkwater. Yeah, Mick Ennis is talking about it now. He said both can hit him from long out, Mitchell Moses and Scott Drinkwater. So right-hand side now for the Cows, and Braden Burns will get this ball to the 45, 4 tackle. That Juan fella says Clifford would be Cows' best option, but Drinkwater will make sure he takes it. Valid. Cows don't have any, none that are decent anyway. I swear, I feel like I remember Drinkwater kicking a good field goal at some stage. Maybe he's not consistent enough with it. That's why we're still a bit confused. And now Parley for the Eels will get this ball to the 26 minutes to go here of the game. It's 18-18, first tackle for the Eels. Good way to finish off the round, though. And remember what I always say. Everyone always looks at the best game of the round being games like the Bulldogs versus the Warriors. That ended up being a fizzler. You know, all these other games that looked like they were the big ones, and they didn't end up being massive belters. This game, however, was the one, and the Titans-Rabbitohs were the 2 games that were looked at as being the worst games of the round. Titans-Rabbitohs wasn't great quality, but it was very close, came down to the last seconds, and this one is right down to the last seconds, a tie game, 5 minutes to go, and both teams trying to avoid being in the spoon race. So the 2 games that look like the worst are the ones that are the best ones of the round in regards to closeness. I do think Sharks-Dragons was very good, but this one will probably beat it out. Fit tackle, right-hand side, Mitchell Moses, field goal! I think he's got it. He has hit it. 5 minutes to go. The Eels lead 19-18. 5 minutes to go. Mitchell Moses, jeez, will hit the field goal. It's 19-18 with 5 minutes to go. Moses, he knows how to hit him. He knows how to hit him. That one fella says Clifford kicked a clutch one years back, first into the Cows versus East at Gosford, carried the team to that win. Well, they're going to need him right now, him or Drinkwater, because they're down by 1. Still 5 minutes, though, a long time to go here. Hadaroni says Eels win. Well, they're up by 1, but there's still 4.5 minutes left. And if you're a Knights fan, you wouldn't like that, because now you drop down into third last. Yes. Yeah, no, third last, not second last. If the Titans had won, you would have been second last, but because the Titans lost, the Rabbitohs' points differential is not good enough, so you'll be third last. Trinipolo will get this ball out here to the 18. Most of the modern-day Johns, he does know how to crack a field goal. Modern-day Johns is a crazy comparison, though. Second tackle here at the 35. And now third tackle at the 40 for the Eels. 4 minutes left of the game. 4 minutes left. They give it to Dean Hawkins, then to Papali. I think that's a knock-on from Semi Valame. I think this is going to be a 6 again here for the Eels. And it is 0 tackle now for Parramatta, and they will be at the 45 on their own side of the field. Brenton says, yuck, you're just lucky the Titans lost. You're just lucky the Gold Coast did what Gold Coast does best. So first tackle now at the 44. They roll it back to Talon Da Silva. Talon Da Silva to Junior Bolo, and Bolo will be 35 metres out, second tackle. If they score a try here, that'll be the game. They go right outside, Talon Da Silva to Moses. Kelma Tuolangi. And Tuolangi is going to be 25 metres away from the... No, he gets the offload away. Talon Da Silva to 20, the 15, the 10. He's taken down 10 metres out from the line, third tackle. I still think you guys pick off the wires. Look, I hope so, mate, but today doesn't give me confidence for jack shit with the Titans. So Talon Da Silva's trying to claim a high tackle penalty here. He's staying down at the moment. Oh, that is a penalty. That is a penalty. This will be a 2-point penalty for Parramatta, which will take it to a 3-point game. There is mitigating circumstances there, which is why it won't be a bin, but there will be, you would assume it's going to be a penalty here because he does get contacted high and he has stayed down. No, they're not even going to call it as a penalty. Okay. Third tackle at the 10. Okay, the refs told him to do it again. Play the ball again. I don't understand how that's not classed as a penalty. It is high contact. But, okay, sure, I don't know what a high tackle call is anymore. So, fourth tackle. Kendall says, should be kicking a goal. I disagree. I'd waste 40 seconds on it and then kick the goal to make it 3. Takes out the field goal play. Makes sure the Cowboys need to score. That's a knock on there from the... No, it's 6 again here for the Eels. They're going to say it was played at by the Cowboys and knocked back by the Eels. And that'll be second tackle. No, I think in that situation, you take the 2, you make a 3-point game, takes a field goal play out of it, takes a 2-point field goal play out of it, that forces the Cowboys to score a try. You get the ball back and you waste 40 seconds. I think that's the play there. Third tackle here, 5 metres out. All right, so 5 metres away. They give it to Dean Hawkins. Hawkins then off to Mitchell Moses. Moses to Kelma Tuolangi, and Tuolangi is going to be 8 metres out, 4th tackle, 2 minutes and 10 seconds to go here of the game. Eels like it wasn't a penalty that have kicked the goal. Cows would get the ball back from the kickoff and score to win. Well, no, the Eels would get the ball back from the kickoff. And now Dean Hawkins, 5 metres out, fit tackle. If I'm the Eels here, I just run this ball into the line. Talon Da Silva and Mitchell Moses is fuming. Mitchell Moses is unloading a Talon Da Silva in this game. First, he made the mistake before of running the ball himself, and Moses lit him up, and then he just lit him up just then because he didn't get the pass away to Mitchell Moses. Jeez, it's good to see Moses really passionate about this game, though, and about this win. Bad teams do find ways to lose. You're right, that one fella, but also Cowboys aren't exactly a great team that know how to win. So third tackle over the Cowboys at the 30. They have to get into range here for a field goal. Taumalolo will be at the 35. 4th tackle. Cowboys might get 1 tackle if they don't get it. If they don't get something here. Dearden at the back to Drinkwater. Drinkwater tries to go through himself. He gets away from a tackle. He gets the offload away to Dearden. Dearden here. He's looking for something. He's looking for something. He's at the 45. He gets taken down to the 45. 5th tackle. This might be your last real opportunity here, Cows. And they'll get it off for it. No, they don't even go for a 2-point field goal. What the fuck? What are they doing? Oh, they let it bounce! Oh! Cowboys get the ball back at the 13. And what is Adokar doing? 50 seconds to go here. The Cowboys are 13 metres away from the line. They're going to get a great opportunity to field goal. They might even score a try. Oh! Sean Baton's 3 metres out from the line. I can't believe Adokar let that ball bounce and kicked it straight to the Cowboys. So Cowboys here, 5 metres away from the line. Third tackle, 36 seconds to go. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. Third tackle here, 5 metres out. Reece Robson out to Tom Dearden. They go out to the left. It's obstruction. No, Cowboys, you lost the game. No, you've lost the game here. Jake Clifford, no, you've lost the game. You've lost the game. This is going to be they're going to call try. The bunker will check this. I'm pretty certain this is an obstruction. I'm pretty certain this is an obstruction. They're going to call try here for the Cowboys, but I'm pretty certain this is an obstruction. No, this is a no try for mine. They'll check in the bunker. I'm actually surprised the referee didn't call that. The reason why the gap opened up so massively, Adokar deserved to lose the game by doing what he just did. But he's going to get very lucky, I reckon. How did the ref give the try? I don't know how he's given that try, but we're going to look at the bunker anyway, because Jeremiah Nene runs into the line. And does he catch it on the inside or the outside here? They're going to check. They're going to go to the bunker. They're going to check the obstruction. The fans have gone up and they're celebrating here. I'm pretty certain this is an obstruction, lads. Clifford should have gone down. Clifford should have absolutely gone down. But does he catch it on the inside here? Yeah, he's required to run to space. He catches on the inside of him as well. It's a no try. It's a no try. Eels win the game. There's no way you can call this a try. Moses has dived there, but at the end of the day, it's a try. That's a no try. Like, Moses has dived there, but it is an obstruction. It's a blatant obstruction there. Nene couldn't make contact with the player. Clifford also catches on the inside, and it will be a no try here for the Cowboys. So they will still be well and truly in that spoon battle. They will still be down there. They're very lucky the Titans lost today, because then all three teams below them would have been, with Rabbitohs bye, would have been 1 point short of them. They're lucky the Titans lost, which is still 3 points short. But the Eels are going to win the game. Jake Clifford had to go down there. He would have absolutely known the space was too big. I still can't believe the referee called that as a try originally. Someone says, don't hate the player, hate the game. Moses is playing by the rules. I'm not. That's fine. Yes, he is milking it, but that's what I'm saying. It is an obstruction. Straight up. I'm not criticising Moses going down there. At the end of the day, if you're going to try and win the game, that's what you're going to try and do. So Parramatta will drop the Cowboys. The Parramatta will go into 13th position, and the Cowboys will be in 4th last. They will drop into the bottom 4. Bunker call, ref has no balls. Yeah, I agree. I think what the referee's done there is tried to take responsibility away from himself and put it onto the bunker to make the decision. That's probably what he's done there, because if he calls no try straight away, he should have immediately gone up to the bunker actually and just said no try. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, he should have just straight up gone to the bunker, because the bunker's going to review it regardless. He should have gone to the bunker. So, no, I'd take that thought process away just then. But yeah, the Eels will win 19-18 in a thriller to end off round 23. It's been a crazy round, and it's just going to get crazier. It's going to get crazier. Next week, we have some big games. Thursday night, be right back here, because we're going to see a belter between the Panthers and the Storm. Before on Friday, we see Warriors Dragons, massive game. Roosters Bulldogs as well, huge game. Sharks and Titans, Titans trying to avoid the spoon. Sharks fighting for their spot in the 8 after a bad loss to the Dragons this weekend. Broncos and Dolphins is huge. That's 6 versus 8, and Dolphins coming off the back of a 60-point loss to the Roosters, but the Broncos obviously coming off the back of a loss to the Storm, but also injuries galore to both their halves, and Adam Reynolds and Ezra Mam, plus they got injuries to Selwyn Cobbo, plus they got injuries to Xavier Willison, Brendan Piakura. That's a massive game there, especially if the Roosters are to find a way to win against the Dogs. That'll be really, really massive between those two teams on Saturday. Then we've got the Rabbitohs versus the Eels, another spoon bowlish kind of game. Rabbitohs in 16th, Eels are in... Eels are probably away from it, but at the end of the day, they are still kind of down that area. So a big game there, especially for the Rabbits, especially with their bye coming up. Tigers and Manly. Tiger season's done, but Manly still have a chance to make the 8 now after that Dolphins win over the Roosters. The Roosters win over the Dolphins. It keeps Manly only 2 points short of the 8, but they still need effectively 2 wins over the other 2 based on the fact of their points differential. And then Cowboys Knights, a bit of a fizzler to end off the round next week. But with that being said, important game for the Knights to win to avoid that spoon, and then the Raiders to have the bye, which will keep them in first position. William Seleka says a win. Yes, Para win. Para do win. Darren Wollongong says, I'm out. Great commentary as always, BKR. Appreciate you, brother. Old Melon Sauce says, being a Para fan shortens my lifespan every week. Yep, no, I know the feeling as a Titans fan, mate. I know the feeling. At least you got your win today, though. But absolutely, the Eels do give you a heart attack. Kendall says Moses knows how to handle Dearden. Hudder says Josh nearly gave the game away. Yeah, Josh Adokar nearly gave the game away for sure. For sure. John says, to be fair, Moses has made a significant difference since his return. Moses is incredible when he's playing. They're a one-man team, Parramatta. They really are. They are the definition of a one-man team, but at the end of the day, they get wins when their one-man team is there. When Mitchell Moses is in the game, they do get wins, and he is a vital, key, critical part of their team, which is why they were able to win today with his field goal. He really has been solid. But all right, guys, I appreciate you. I've been here all round long. We'll be here all round long next week as well. So hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. I'll probably see you tomorrow. We're going to do a stream where we're going to run through the top 8 battle of teams like the Broncos, the Dolphins, the Roosters, the Sharks, even Manly, the Warriors as well. And even we'll briefly speak about the Dragons and Tigers as well. Not that the Tigers are going to do with their points differential, either the Dragons, but point of the matter is that we'll probably do a live stream tomorrow at about probably 6 p.m. or so, 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. Queensland, Australian time. So be here for that one, and then maybe Tuesday we'll talk more about kind of that top 4 battle and maybe even the wooden spoon and whatnot. But I appreciate you guys as always, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Catch you later. See ya.